can mean one and only thing. This is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat. Oh, that's feedback. Hi, I'm Chip. Who are you, Tez?
You just told him, buddy.
So you're back.
I'm back.
You were on assignment.
I guess that's what we'll call
as
it.
we tell everybody
Yeah.
when you're gone. What were you doing?
I was getting my 5G chip updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a little rough.
But, yeah, but you feel safer.
You don't just get the thing where they scan it and update it for you?
No, I'm still doing the old school.
He's getting a real injection.
Real injection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you gotta go to a Jewish doctor to get that.
No,
Yo, we're like 3 days from the anniversary.
Yo.
Charlie's out here like, Charlie's here. Hi, Charlie.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Yom Kippur starts tomorrow.
Yo.
Your Kiplark, also known as the Festival of Sand.
Yeah.
Did you ever read that Onion article?
Yes.
Jews to celebrate Rosh Hashanah or something?
Yes.
Rosh Hashanah, as I understand it, is a very holy time for the Jewish people. I think it's a time where they light the chandelier or blow a horn or something.
Yes, that's correct. Both of those are right. So
there you go. Right, there's that.
Okay, we're off to a great start.
Off to a great start.
So yeah,
but yeah, I got a COVID shot,
and you're okay.
Yeah, side effects from.
Had you had side effects prior?
Yeah, this one was a little. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is.
My dad got his most recently, and he had like nothing. He was like, yeah.
I've never had a side. Even from the first one, I never had any side effects from it.
Yeah, the worst side effect I had from my first one was I got my sense of smell and taste back after 11 months.
It was reversing things.
You got
because yours was reversing what was happening. It was trying to read.
And then my most recent shot I got at the curling club for I don't know, it was like a year ago, and then I got my flu shot at the same time.
Yeah, so I got them on Monday.
But that was before John Legend made it cool. And then
can I also just say I for the last several years I have been just over John Legend.
I don't. The rest of the country still loves him. So he was. But anyway,
white people, I think. Yeah,
white people like John Legend.
His lane, the lane he occupies, strong. Like it doesn't
accessible, safe black guy.
It's going straight. It's
everybody likes him.
It's a very interesting lane to see where he's.
Plus, he's actually very talented.
He's incredible. I do not deny that.
And all that
I'm just tired of him. That's
my major side effect from my last one was a hangover, because then after I got my double shot, I was at the curling club, and so then I got a double shot, and then I just kept drinking, and I had a great time. Okay, so first and foremost, we need to shout out to everybody in Florida. If you are in Florida and you're listening to this, congratulations, you've got electricity, which is really good. We're not making fun of you for being in Florida this time, not having electricity.
I almost said or not, and then I was like, that's not for
No,
free.
today's not a good day to play Florida or not.
I almost was like, okay.
They almost were or not.
Yeah, exactly. But thankfully,
so we'll have some updates. It's a good time to
We're just making sure we're inoculating people from the woke mind virus.
Thank you, Ron.
That was the other shot I got.
That's it. Oh, you're. Okay. So if you are down in Florida, please listen to local authorities, and carefully, and just we're going to talk about that, because we can't not talk about that. It's happening right now.
Yeah, and
so we will talk about what FEMA is there to do and what they're not there to do. So just calm down, everybody. But shout out to you, Tez. This is literally the thing that you've been warning us about for at least 3 years, almost 3 years, which is the appropriate amount of time for us to have started to care about climate change.
We
just recently.
To start.
Yeah, I'm thinking about putting on my calendar to look at an electric vehicle.
But you're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about possibly scheduling time to think about
it. The government.
My car gets 40 rods to the hog's head, and that's the way I likes it.
I mean, look, the IRA, which is obviously still a terrible name, but it just doesn't make any sense.
Wait a minute. What in the world has ever been called the IRA that's been terrible? Are you having a little troubles figuring that one out?
Oh God,
that was terrible.
That was terrible. I mean, but right, it's
long walk for a real bomb of a joke.
Jesus Christ.
But Catholic Jesus, not the.
Yeah, that one.
Right.
That one. Yes, be specific.
You gotta get the right kind of Jesus.
Right kind of Jesus. There was investment, but it doesn't like. I mean, look, this shit is baked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
we can't reverse it.
Yo, like
we can ride it out
and limit the suffering. That's
limit
all
the damage.
That's all we can kind of do.
All right. So anyway,
water in the Gulf of fucking Mexico.
95 degrees.
That's insane, yo.
You can make tea with the ocean. That's not good. Don't do that.
But the poles are melting. How can that be possible? And you're like, hey, yo.
Oh my God. Okay.
Also,
Bob Woodward
God.
became a reporter again.
I mean, he just some might say he's been doing this. Like,
I don't understand why people keep talking to him and then being surprised. This is utterly unbelievable.
No, because there's a reason they
surely
talk to him.
He's not gonna tell everybody what
I think it's because
tell
he
him.
speaks so slowly, they think like he can't possibly be picking up everything that they're saying.
Right.
Because you remember saying the man is awkward as fuck.
Yeah, he's a nerd. He's a
Sort
reporter.
of, yeah, that's.
Nobody's ever said, "Hey, you know who's really great at parties? Bob Woodward."
No, that's why he had to Carl Bernstein around
right.
all the time.
Bernstein's the one who got him invited to the Trump party, or the Erdogan party, to go hang out with Trump and record this thing.
They're better people to talk to at a bar.
Yeah,
That's
us.
better.
Okay. Also, Trump keeps lying about everything. Fortunately, we can get him on the show.
Yeah.
And then Elon sucks. Elon sucks at everything.
Although that picture of him at the rally
With him jumping
with
up.
his
beautiful
belly.
meme. That was meme gold.
Yes.
That was meme gold.
When we get to that.
We'll get to that.
Just-
And plus, Little Rocket Man, he's out doing stuff again. And
Glorious Rocket Man.
yeah, is that right?
That's the new.
He doesn't poop.
Yes.
That's one of the things. And also,
Haven't you read the children's book Everybody Poops but Kim Jong-un?
that's right.
Yeah.
That is correct. And Charlie is also, he's not just here to be funny. He's also here to make it sound like we are cultured and know things about TV and movies.
So it will be that.
I don't actually know any of those
It's not going to be
things.
us.
But Charlie knows.
Yeah,
those
that's
things.
it. Will not bleed over to us.
It's like
We will still-
it's like a catch-up session.
Yeah, well, but we're gonna, or a mustard session maybe afterwards.
Oh,
I
God.
prefer horseradish.
There you go. Just a saucy bunch. It's not good. I'm gonna stop. No, I'm not.
He won't.
You will
No.
not stop. Not stop.
Yeah. What's the thing with the narrators like? And he did not.
And he
Right.
did not.
Okay. So yeah. Anyway, that's why you're here. So we have to have words and things. I didn't even write it down in the script because I knew we were gonna do it. Do you have a word, Charlie? Do you have a word? He's thinking. I have a word.
Yes.
Okay. I've got a word. All right. So you want to go 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna take our first break, Brian. Okay. Barely looking up.
Anyway,
He's like, whatever.
The whole job, the whole part of the job is listening. He's obviously listening.
It's like, whatever,
Yeah.
guy.
I gotcha.
So sit back, grab some
solar.
It's
Truthful.
walking taco time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond. Sweeps. Jet here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's poppin', y'all?
Now, Charlie's here, but suspend that thought for a moment, right? If you just close your eyes, use your ears, we're going to take a journey. Okay, we're going to check in.
Theater of the mind.
It's radio after all, right? As Ed Walker used to say. So we're gonna take a trip down to visit our friends in the hurricane-ravaged peninsula that is Florida, and we're gonna check in with Governor Ron DeSantis, or DeSantis. What is he? DeSantis.
DeSantis.
There you go.
It should be 2 words, but immigration and whatnot.
Right. Yes. So, Ron, how is Governor DeSantis? I should say, how is your state faring through this hurricane?
Well, it's doing pretty well. I mean, we're still here, and I think that's the important thing. But the important thing is to prepare for the afterlife, obviously.
Naturally.
Obviously we want to be alive now until God spares me and no one else. But the the thing is that we're doing well. You have to understand that a lot of the things that you're reading online are not true. Well, it depends on what you're reading online. If you're reading that they're performing genital mutilation on children, that is true.
That is true.
That is true.
Naturally, yeah.
But I think the thing that is most important is that my boots are fine.
Okay,
My
nice.
boots have not been hurt. They are still in pristine condition, practically like they were straight out of the box.
Yeah, and
they are.
Did they lift you high enough up over the storm surge?
It is the best. It's a better high than marijuana, I tell you.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Sheesh.
I don't know about cocaine, but we're going to see about that at some point in the next couple of years.
Just for research.
Don Jr. hasn't been able to hook me up with his guy, unfortunately.
No. I'm sure Matt Gaetz will help you.
Yeah.
So, Ron,
unless he can get, but it's weird. He doesn't go past anything that's 14 years old.
That's,
unfortunately.
well, 14.
That's older than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Okay. Governor, how have the theme parks, that this tour right through Orlando and Kissimmee and all that stuff, where
it's a strange thing because you want to be sensitive to everything, but the sight of severed costume heads all around Disney World is objectively funny.
Yes.
And I think that's something that we can agree on. That's a bipartisan thing.
Some might say goofy.
Yeah.
Brian's going to set a record for clips, and they're all going to be bad puns. We are really proud of ourselves tonight.
What's really funny is I saw a bed that had Mickey's head and Daisy Duck's head, and Donald was off to the side watching, and he was kind of like a cuck out there. But he was kind of enjoying it. Minnie was pissed though.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And Goofy was just Goofy.
I hope my child is asleep.
Which is weird because he has the same.
You let your kids listen to the show?
Because Goofy has the same face that I have whenever I climax with my wife once every 3 years.
It's every 3 years. That's right. So, Governor, how
that and the weird smile from the debate.
Naturally, yes.
She got so wet from that.
Oh God! Like
how did Ben Shapiro do? Did he survive?
It wasn't kosher.
No. Okay, that's good.
Oh.
So we want to know, obviously the hurricane came ashore in the Sarasota, Tampa area on the west coast of Florida.
The loser area.
Yes. How did
many are saying?
But many people are saying that this was God steering this away from Mar-a-Lago, which is directly on the other side.
I thought the government created it.
Well, that's how I'm getting to this.
Oh.
So was the direction of the hurricane influenced by anybody, and if so, why is it my people?
The Jews have assured me that this is that they are on top of everything,
yes.
And that they're making. That's why I said it hit the loser coast. So we're not too
spared
concerned
Boca.
about it. Yeah,
yeah, right. So if I'm gonna say we, just letting everybody know.
Or as they say in your language, hello.
Yes, right. Yes. Okay. If we #the Jews can control the weather, how come humans can't be responsible for climate change?
Oh God!
pass.
Yo, I was like,
So Ron, this is Governor DeSantis. I want to call you Ron because I feel like we're friends. You know, we know your brother. Eamon.
Yes. He's my brother.
Yeah. Eamon DeSantis.
Yeah. We don't talk. I don't talk about him that much because I'm kind of jealous of him.
Yeah, right. Well, he's been on a baseball field. So, but I want to know if. Is it fair to say that this is one for the history books, knowing that Florida not a big fan of history books?
You know, I mean, obviously we'll count the white people that get affected by this, but you know, because I mean, we're trying to make Florida, you know.
Yeah,
but,
we know.
You know.
We're aware.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, we're doing what we need to do and making sure that things are, you know, are portrayed correctly.
Correctly.
You know, we're going to give whitewashing a whole new meaning.
One should say the right side of history.
The white side of history.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Also known as the Waffle House side of
That's
history.
right. Yeah. Okay.
Make Florida white Cuban.
Yeah. Oh, God.
That would be a great drink, by the way.
The white Cuban.
The white Cuban.
If a Cuba Libre is a rum and
Which
Coke,
is just milk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's a white Cuban? It's just Sprite and Coke.
It's just milk that's farmed by communists.
That's okay.
Yeah. What does it do?
Pin in that. When I was
dry foot?
while I was riding up, I was listening to the football game on the radio, and there was an ad decrying something called cultural Marxism.
What?
And I thought it was an ad for some.
They're spending their money in the right place.
Yeah, some fake university or whatever, and you could sign up for a course to help you.
Oh, you mean New College of Florida?
I don't know. I don't know if that was what it was called. It was something. No, it had a different name.
Liberty?
No, wasn't Liberty. It was
Grand Canyon University.
No, wasn't one of those. It was one I hadn't heard before, but you could sign up for a free class to defeat cultural Marxism. I'm 100%
anti-woke.
We have to sign up.
I'm wondering
for this.
how
I
you
want to
do
know
that.
what cultural Marxism is.
I'm wondering how you
weird.
do that without shooting up a Unitarian church.
Yeah, right. It's not a church. They don't call it. They don't believe.
No, they actually they're
No,
called
they
churches.
call it a church.
They call it a church.
I know that, but good God-fearing Christians wouldn't. But anyway, okay. Do you have any other further questions for the governor here before he has to go tend to his let's call it a state?
Over or under on the next hurricane? Like, when do we see that? When is it?
Like when or like
when,
death
like,
toll?
If it gives,
I don't want to go there with it. I'm just
Okay.
saying. And
the real thing is this going to give Tua his fourth concussion?
Oh, God.
wow.
Fourth?
Yeah.
Was it going back in time?
I read it was three. I read it was his third career one. I mean,
I've
don't
seen
know.
3 on this show.
Tez has been here and witnessed 3 of them while we were watching Thursday Night Football.
True, and he's not even playing tonight.
No, but he could get another one.
Yeah, well, I mean, he just wanders onto the field.
A better question also, where are the Rays playing next year?
Yeah.
The stadium looks a little...
Oakland.
Oh, yeah.
Because if there's one thing I want to be, it's outside for 4.5 hours in Vegas.
Yeah.
No.
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 Well,
That's...
I have been in Vegas in June.
It's hot.
It's
hot.
It was a kind of hot that
It's
I was
hey,
not prepared for.
You're trying to get...
That's the joke.
And yes, we get it. So, like, the idea that these guys are willing to move to is outrageous.
You kind of have
stupid.
to jump in between the AC.
It was
wherever you're at, between AC to AC.
It's sort of like when the Twins decided to build a new stadium that wasn't a dome. It's like, baseball starts in what we call springtime, but what Minnesota still calls fuck all winter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And like, clearly they don't want to make the playoffs. Could you imagine playing October baseball in Minneapolis outdoors?
MLB obviously doesn't believe in climate change. It's obvious at this point.
It'll warm up by then.
Well, the Minnesota Twins also don't believe in a decent logo, so
Come
took him
on.
out. It's bad.
The T and the C, it's cute.
It's kind of...
What about that says Minnesota Twins?
Twin Cities.
No,
It's
that's a deep cut.
confusing.
it is. I was going to say...
I don't go to baseball to be educated.
Yeah, fair.
We're aware. Okay.
Can't argue that.
So, speaking of the hurricane, we do need to talk about this crazy thing that is happening, or I should say not happening. Okay, there are there were two hurricanes. There was Helene, and now there's Milton, and they both hit some of the same areas. Helene took a northward track, kind of right up through Florida into Georgia and the Carolinas and Tennessee and Virginia.
The sad thing is that Hurricane Milton still hasn't found his red swing line stapler.
Right. Yes, there was many jokes about that. Just give him back the damn stapler. So
I'm going to set the building on fire.
Several maybe. What happened in the aftermath though is this wild set of conspiracies that make no fucking sense at all.
Are they wild at this point?
It's not.
I'm surprised it took this long for these types to materialize.
I see. I'm on the totally opposite side. I am totally confused by why anybody is perpetuating these. Who benefits from this? Like, why would you stir this up? Nobody gets. There's no upside to it. All right. Here's what's actually happening. FEMA and the states and the federal government are responding to the disasters in much the way they respond to all the disasters, which is they rush aid in. They've got FEMA's got thousands of people on the ground in both places. They've activated National Guard. They've got active duty troops. They're flying in supplies in C-17s and using Chinook helicopters to reach places that the roads don't go. They've got bulldozers out trying to clear the roads. The Forest Service is out trying to clear things. There is every possible response going on, and everybody can see it. But for some reason, right-wing media is spinning this story that either FEMA isn't coming, they're only giving out $700, or they're coming and taking your shit, or they're bulldozing whole towns to.
I know. Look.
And normally this
funny.
Is stupid, right? But
funny.
FEMA has had to put up several web pages to explain this. And there are militias forming up that are attacking FEMA people or threatening them. There are FEMA workers who are getting death threats. There are people in Florida who are elected officials in Florida who are rallying their citizens to say, don't flee, don't evacuate, or FEMA's going to take your house. And then there's other elected officials who are Republicans, I would point out, who are out there like Governor DeSantis, who have to explain to people, hey, idiots, this isn't happening.
To quote him, I'm the sheriff running this show.
Right. This is a nut house kind of, like, I can't even understand this.
It was interesting. I was coming up here and I was just listening to, they were talking about how Twitter, like the birth of Twitter really was like in part of like responding to earthquakes in San Francisco. And that's where like, they were like, oh, wow, this is kind of a real thing. We need to kind of make sure we invest in this. And
it worked really well for quick,
yes,
easy way to get quick information out.
And we're beyond that time. I think a lot of us want that time to come back, but it's unfortunate because that was the place that really was in conjunction with like the government and being like, hey, this is what's actually happening.
It was
verified.
Yes.
Right? So you could actually verify who was posting. And that's just not what it is anymore. And I think in general, who does this serve? It just serves to like, right, what are we, 28 days out from an election?
Yeah, but I don't see how it serves their voters. Because
it doesn't because
it serves their candidate.
Yeah, their candidate, the man at the top of the ticket. And yes, that's why it doesn't serve the voters in these locales. Because
not at all.
That's why Ron DeSantis is out here like, you know what people don't like? A bunch of fellow dead citizens.
Right.
That shit fucks up. Like,
yeah.
That's what politics just alone, and I know that's very shrewd, that can fuck your whole campaign up. If you look at it like, oh yeah, all these people died under my watch.
Not only
no
that,
one's
though,
voting for you.
There's like Marjorie's out here telling everybody that the hurricanes were steered to kill Republicans in Republican areas in Republican states.
This is very dangerous.
It's a very dangerous thing to say.
Very dangerous to say.
Because that's not how that works.
Who's steering it? No.
You know who she thinks is steering, but like, but if they're your voters, what wouldn't you think you'd want to be rushing them relief so that they can get to vote?
This is someone whose primary concern has never been constituent services.
Well, clearly not. I don't mean just her, though.
To say the least.
That there are people who are running in races whose districts are affected by this, who really need these people to show up and vote, and they're not going to be able to because they're still trying to dig their way out of the debris field, and they're out there spreading this kind of...
They demonized early and mail-in voting.
Yes,
crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're out there, the ones spreading these bullshit conspiracies. Why? What is that? That's the thing I don't understand, right? We talk about conspiracy theories a lot on this show.
There's kernels of truth of all these things, though.
But I don't know.
Look, no. Of what they spend it from. What do they spend them? They're taking their home. There's a program with FEMA. If you want to sell your home to them,
or if you're in a place that's not safe
I don't want to go back.
anymore.
It's flooded 3 fucking times. What do? They take that kernel of truth and spin up this crazy shit.
Yeah, and it is true that the government is giving out $750, but it's just the fastest, quick relief.
Like, hey, yo, this is what we can give.
We can give you this with no questions asked.
And that's the stuff that'll show up in your bank account within a couple of hours.
Yeah, right. Okay. When we talk about these things, we're always really focused on 2 questions. One is, if you've got a conspiracy, let's say there is a conspiracy to bulldoze whole town.
Sorry, I gotta stop laughing, but it's so
there's
crazy.
too many people that would have to keep their mouth shut for this to work. And
it's 9/11 truth all over again.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then the second thing is, who benefits from this story being told?
Right.
And I don't understand. That's the one I can't figure out.
Who benefits from? Yeah.
What is the benefit here? Why is Trump benefiting from? What does he think the benefit of this is?
They're running a playbook that they think is going to win them an election.
It's crazy.
I don't personally think it's going to win them the election. I could obviously be wrong before. But this playbook, they're all in on it. They're all in on the lies. They're all in on... Because you can still rally people around this.
There was a story in the paper this week about another small town that the Trump people have picked out as their example of a thing that isn't happening, that they're spinning up into this crazy shit, and like Aurora and Springfield and all this other kind of stuff.
Wasn't Trump in Detroit saying like the rest of the country's going to turn into Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Like,
it's like, okay, Detroit's doing great.
Doesn't seem
like a bad thing.
A way to win. It doesn't, and the fact that we say, oh, it's close, I really hope that it's not, because it shouldn't be.
So let's get back to that in a minute, but let's talk about the things that are important for the people who are involved in this.
Yeah.
One is FEMA isn't out of money, but it's close. And what everybody needs to know is Congress has to appropriate the money.
And bring their ass back.
So, let's talk about that. So Congress did appropriate a bunch of money in the last CR to help with some disaster relief, Maui and some other places, but it's not going to be enough. Also, people are very concerned about FEMA. They should be paying attention to the Small Business Administration. SBA is the one who gives most of the loans post-disaster for people to get their stuff back up and running again. They're overwhelmingly the biggest loan guarantor or creator in the country when it comes to this kind of stuff. SBA is out of money. Okay, there's enough to get through this and not the next one. Congress needs to come back and put some more money in the bank. That's how that works. Is Congress going to do it? Don't know. Because, there's 2 ways that it can happen. One is they can unanimous consent this. All 535 can go, we're with it. Hurricane relief, we don't want to stop campaigning. We don't need to come back to Washington. We're just going to all say yes. And if nobody objects, Matt Gaetz, then Florida gets money, Matt Gaetz. Okay, but if anybody objects, the second option is they got to come back and they got to vote on it. MAGA Mike already told everybody he doesn't see any reason to do it.
Which is his quote on that is insane.
I don't understand why what he said was...
He comes from a state that is always affected by hurricanes.
Right, he comes from Louisiana that gets inundated all the time. He says, it's going to take a long time to calculate how much we need to appropriate anyway, and by the time we're supposed to be back in session, they'll be just finishing doing the counting. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's the craziest quote I've seen in some time.
You fucking kidding me?
And that's saying something.
Yeah, that's a crazy quote.
I mean, it's like you have a chance to just look like a leader for half a second. Half a second and say, you know what? We're calling everybody back to save the good people who are affected by these hurricanes. And can he do it? No, he can't do it. Why? What does that serve?
Because it gives the Democratic president a win.
Yeah, but
who isn't running?
These wins,
still the other side.
It is, and that's where we're at with this.
And it's not his state that's affected, so what would he care?
Yeah, it is that. Yeah,
Unanimous consent's probably the only way.
There's no way they do that. What Congress do you think we have that's going to drop? You think
it happened with Katrina?
That was a different time.
That was 20 years ago. I understand.
That's a different time. That is a completely different time.
And that was after immense mismanagement.
Everything was looking crazy.
That was when Anderson Cooper's black T-shirt was at nipple ready. And because that's how you tell how bad a natural disaster is.
How tight is Anderson Cooper's? Yeah. That's true. It's like whether Jim Cantori's there or how tight Anderson Cooper's shirt is.
Yeah.
These are the two indicators, like the Waffle
House
Index.
You see nipples, run.
Yeah, right.
It's not the wind.
The other, crazy thing that I have seen myself over and over is people falsely believing that FEMA doesn't have the resources to care for people in these disaster-stricken areas because they've given all the money or are giving all the money to illegal immigrants or Ukraine, as if this is even a possibility. First of all, FEMA can't give any money to Ukraine. That's not how that works. Second of all, FEMA doesn't give any money to illegal immigrants. That's not how that works.
Well, and of course, the only person who did divert money from FEMA was Donald Trump to build the wall.
To build his wall.
Yeah.
Which he didn't build very much.
And he wanted to rename the agency Mexico.
Right. He also diverted money away from building schools on military bases because, he supports the troops. I don't understand this. Why is this happening?
You're just now asking that?
No, we're doing a radio show. You have to ask questions, and then people get to say things. That's how
there's 28 days until an election.
What's the election play here?
Well, I think there's also the memories of Sandy and what happened with Chris Christie.
Wasn't he hugging? Didn't he hug
Obama?
No, and he literally said on I think it was on NBC. He said on ABC. He said if you think I'm gonna put partisan things above the well-being of my state, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, and he was right,
which is true. Yeah,
every once in a while
you gotta see those people. You still especially if you're the governor,
especially because he's going to be out on the beach by himself, and one of them's going to show up.
He hasn't advanced any further in the Republican Party
because he hugged Obama.
Because he said nice things about Obama in the lead up to an election.
Hey, that cake baked.
I don't know, man. Alone on the beach during a shutdown also didn't help him. But
that was a great picture.
That's an incredible photo.
That was an amazing picture.
What can government do for you?
Can give
only surpassed by Charlie Rangel at his vacation.
Yeah. Well, but that wasn't a government paid for vacation.
No, I'm just talking about the funniness.
How
funny it is.
Yes.
That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right. So people, Florida and the Carolinas, Georgia, people anywhere who are affected by this, we hope that you get the help that you need. Please follow the instructions of your local authorities.
Check the sources,
unless they're crazy.
Check the sources of what you're reading.
If it's not coming from .gov, it's probably bullshit.
Yeah, and just even that. I mean, if Paul Gosar has something on his webpage and it's something.gov and he's in Arizona and he's telling you he's seen Venezuelan gangs rampaging in Orlando.
The man's a dentist. He's evil by nature.
Right. Just don't use some common sense. There isn't common. I don't know what to say.
I like to say he was the inspiration for Laurence Olivier's character in Marathon Man.
Would he go back in time?
I wish.
I don't know how to say the thing I want to say here.
It's hard to understand. Yeah. To comprehend really what's going on with this.
There's so many people at risk. There's so many people who are harmed by this, and then they're going to be harmed worse by a thing that doesn't need to be happening. It's just needless. And I know there's a lot of needless suffering. We talk about that a lot on this show. This is just stupid needless.
I think the other thing that I was listening to that could also become a thing is that we expected this to wipe out Tampa.
Yeah.
Thank God it didn't.
Thank God it didn't.
Thank God. But they were talking about, I believe it was like a preparation paradox where it's like, people will then start questioning, well, we prepared and nothing happened. And it's like,
right.
But you don't even understand, even the storm that did hit, if people were there could still be more deaths. The death toll could be higher. But people are like, oh, well, it didn't destroy my city. Right. Why did I even leave my house?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh shit. Like, and that's another thing they've talked about.
That survivor bias stuff.
Yeah, like people are having to fight that. And it's
fine.
like, what do you like? But no, listen, the big one is eventually it's going to hit. That's nice, and we should be thankful every time that the government is able to get out in front. Obviously, there were models that talked through this storm being, again, rapidly increasing.
There were real meteorologists.
Yes, damn near in tears.
Who were trying to explain to people how this wasn't some weather control phenomenon.
Yeah.
Or how this was actually happening. And then
it's a huge storm. Storm is
you
huge.
could see it.
Yeah.
Right?
The storm
there
is
was
big.
pictures from the space station of how big this was. But there were but here, shout out to friend of the show, Matthew Capucci, who was on the show. He's like getting assailed by these people attacking him. There were actual meteorologists who were fielding death threats. People were calling them, threatening them, saying, "You're making this up. This isn't what's happening." I don't know what millibars are, but I know you don't. You know,
you don't either.
Yeah, and then there was a handful of other people who have a degree in meteorology who were spinning some of these conspiracy theories, and then that just clouded things. Not to be too weather related.
Oh God.
Clouded things up, made it a bit foggier, and nobody could figure out which direction the wind was blowing. I get something for that.
You strung together a few.
It was really bad, and I don't understand why they have to weather that kind of storm of bullshit coming at them while they're just trying to tell you what's going on.
Because everything's political and everything has to conform to things. I mean, just look at what happened with Springfield. I'm guaranteed most of those death threats that came into City Hall and the schools there, they weren't from people that live in Springfield.
No, of course not. They were called in from all over the country.
Or the world.
Or the world, yeah.
Like
called in from Russia.
Yo, like, let's not, that doesn't even have to be here. And yeah, it just... it's crazy that the weather, and not even the weather, natural disasters have now become fodder for like this, almost like the culture war shit too. And like these things also that I think we're gonna see this. These things don't move the needle in these national elections. People don't care. They care more about what the response is of government.
Yes, of course.
And like all this other shit around it doesn't help, and it's also not. It's not like a positive thing that ends up happening at the polls for you, if your candidate is spewing that. So I don't know. It seems like it's a losing battle.
It confused me to death. I was looking at this. I'm like, between the things that they believe about the weather, the things they believe about FEMA, or the things they believe about Haitians, or the things they believe about, it's this world that these.
But is it
mega idiots live in?
Is that? Sometimes I think we say that represents half of the country, and I don't believe that.
It's not half.
It's not
because
half. It's a sizable amount, but it's not what.
Yeah, but it is several million people.
Yes, but it's not most people.
What a world to live in. I mean, really, what a fictional, crazy world, terrifying fictional world to live in.
They've been duped.
That you
choose a lot of them
to believe
have been duped. Some of them are exercising like power in a weird way, like. Oh, these people are really.
They can just come out of it. They can just drop it.
I don't think. No, it's an identity at this point.
That's what I've been saying. That's why we got to get the barge ready. All right, here's what we're gonna do.
Right.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about. We'll do some rundown, and then we'll do some movies and TV and all the things that Charlie knows about.
Right.
Sound good?
The reason that we're
here, yeah. Charlie here. Okay, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps!
To be free, stop to escape. Been trying to get away, but you're haunting me. You're haunting me. I need to be free. Stop haunting me. You're haunting me. I need to be free. Stop haunting me. You're haunting me. You're haunting me. I need to be free. Stop haunting me. You're haunting me. You're haunting me. All roads lead to you. I just can't escape. Been trying to get away, but you're haunting me. You're haunting me. I need to be free. Stop haunting me. You're haunting me.
That happened. All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's poppin', y'all?
Charlie's here with us.
here.
All right, now we've come to a part of the show called The Rundown. This is where I tell you about some stuff that's gone on in the news. If we were professionals, it would sound a little something like this.
Go Blue.
There you go.
From Beltway Radio and Beyond in Washington, D.C., I'm Emmy-nominated TV newsman and just bona fide sexual beast, J. Scott Smith. And this is the part of the show where I tell some stuff about well, maybe not me, but somebody else is going to tell some stuff about what's happening in the news. So, what's going on in the news, fellas?
Thanks, Jay. Welcome back to Long and Obnoxious here on
Welcome
Beltway
back
Radio.
to Long and Obnoxious. That is it, the new name.
I love that.
That's what the show is.
It's so good.
Long and Obnoxious.
So this is a special grift edition of the Rundown. So this one is called "You Want What Now?" You may remember that the former guy has a wife nominally.
Yeah,
He
that's
doesn't-
exactly what I was going
doesn't
to
pay
say.
any attention to her. She doesn't pay any attention to him. And she, why should I care? I think is what her jacket says, or something like that.
Oh, God, that was anyways.
Right.
Oh, what a time.
Okay, so there is a theory that she wrote a book. I'm not sure how true this is.
You mean Becoming Melania Trump based on the novel Push by Sapphire?
Yes. That's very funny. I think it's just called Melania, but that's not the story. So apparently this
We're
book...
not selling her book on here? I thought that's what never mind.
Well, we don't have the money to sell it.
We don't.
My Melania!
Yeah. You buy her for $14.88 too?
Oh, that's just, no, come
We
on.
manufacture her right here in Minnesota!
Oh, $14? 14? No, this has got to be the hardcover.
No. The pillow guy was
Oh,
selling
God.
pillows for $14.88, and everybody's like, "Hey, isn't that a bunch of Nazi numbers?" That they love those
Yes.
numbers.
Yeah, that is a suspicious pricing.
And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "You priced your pillows at the Naziest numbers you could find," and he was like, "I did a lot of crack." So. Yeah. All right. That's not the story. So Melania has this book out called Melania, and she's trying to get interviews to promote the book.
Which usually works
Which is-
the opposite way.
Well,
Usually they say, hey, come on, and,
yeah, but normally, like, we interview authors all
Yeah,
the time, right? So
'cause they're
you've got a
trying to
book you want,
yeah.
you want to promote your book. We'll give you a platform. We want to talk to you about it and all that kind of stuff like that.
What's
so
a book?
this?
Oh, a gime.
Yes. Thanks, Homer. So, yeah, Tez reads books. I'm sure he's going to read the Melania book, much like he read the Liz Cheney book.
No.
He loves books by Republican
Different
women.
type of Republicans.
So anyway, CNN was like, hey, we want to, interview you about the book. And it's pretty standard course, right? You have a book out, you're a high-profile person, you do the book tour. You go on all of the networks.
Yeah, you go on The View, you go on, Regis.
Yeah, sure. Today Show, whatever.
Yeah.
And you talk about your book, and it's a very soft interview. It's no big deal. Like CNN's Dana Bash was all over the circuit with her new book out, right? Even on rival networks, because of course that's
How
what
to
you
Survive
do.
Being in Bed with John King.
That was not the title of the book, but we'll take it. But what was interesting was when CNN was like, hey, Melania, do you want to come on and talk about your book? Her publisher was like, yeah, sure, if you got the money. And CNN was like, excuse me? And they were like, yeah, we won't come on unless you give us $250,000 and sign an NDA saying that you won't tell anybody that we charge you $250,000.
This is actually bringing up memories of me from years ago with Monique, when she was in the midst of her campaign for the Oscars for Precious,
Okay.
which she ended up winning,
Right.
Obviously, and she deserved it. Also, she deserved it. She's
Did
incredible.
she
in that
charge
movie.
you for an interview?
She wanted to charge for interviews during the circuit. During
I mean, we run
yeah.
into this every once in a while where there's somebody, an artist or somebody that we've reached out to and said, hey, we want to interview you. And every once in a while, they'll say something like, my time is my livelihood. And so it's not worth it to me to do this interview unless I get paid, for my time, which is a murky area journalistically.
Because what they're going to say, this is journalism now. This is journalism. Okay.
Nominally.
No, okay. But no, what's happening there is they're saying, oh, we are gonna gain more from them being on than that's the battle.
Well,
that
I
goes back
think
and
that
forth.
often that conversation is more like, hey, if I take an hour to come do your show, that's an hour I'm not working on my work.
Fair. Yeah,
So,
right.
okay, I get that.
Right.
That we can maybe make that work.
Yeah.
But what's happening here is Melania wants to be paid for an interview on CNN, and that's not how we do journalism in this country. That's how they do it in Britain. They pay for interviews in Britain. I know you can have a talk with your people about that, but over here in the United States, where we believe in freedom and the First Amendment and shit, you don't pay for interviews.
Actually, you kind of do now.
Who?
I mean,
Who you're gonna give the interview to?
if
TMZ's
you're
done
ever,
that.
mind you,
they've made it.
Well, no, they've done that. Like, who's going to get the big interview with someone
Right.
to tell their story? Back when they would do like the big Barbara Walters interview, or
You get an exclusive.
There used to be some of that, but usually it wasn't in conjunction with like a book tour.
Yeah,
Which is where you would,
I mean,
which
for
is where
somebody-
you would, which is where you would be getting your source of income from.
right? But something like this, I mean, it is kind of weird. I think the weird twist here is like, isn't your husband running for president, and you try to get a side hustle here?
Of course.
Which
course
doesn't
he is.
connect somehow, and
It's
especially with
all
that amount of
grit.
price.
It is that.
Look, it's galling. It is galling. You don't demand money for a fucking interview.
Yes.
No, you don't.
Think
I'm
about what
surprised
she's learned-
you're
who
kinda
she's
surprised
learned
that-
from. No, sorry.
You're kind of surprised that the Orange Peel hasn't done it. You know, say, hey, you got to
He
pay
does
me.
it. He has done these. He works these things where he gets, you're getting access or whatever. But it is. This is not how we do things here.
Can I just give you some book titles off of Skyhorse Publishing, as I
Yeah.
saw up there of what we have here.
Yeah, I don't know this publishing
I
house.
don't either. So I was like, let me look this up. See
Wait,
what else
you're a book nerd.
yeah,
You
I
should
was like, I
know
don't know.
all of
Let's see
these
what's
things.
going on here. So
Okay.
obviously,
Who writes
Melania.
for Sky? Yeah,
Melania
okay.
is the first thing that's up there. Cywar has 3 cyber pit bulls on the front with cyber collars. They're shining. I encourage
The
everybody.
dogs that have bees in their mouth, and
Yeah.
when they bark, they shoot bees at you.
I don't make it a platform the authors, but I will say the foreword is by General Michael Flynn.
Okay, all right.
We got Preserving Liberty, Bold and Brave Solutions to Save America and Create Permanent Freedom. I'm gonna keep going. We got a basic one here. The World Walk, 7 years, 28,000 miles, 6 continents, a grand meditation, one step at a time.
By Lance Armstrong.
All right, here we got some animated shit. Now, I encourage everybody to go look up this book.
Animated?
I encourage everybody to look up this one. It's called The Adventures of Rabbit Woman and Dog Man.
No.
Hold on.
A portrait of the Clintons.
No.
A journey to save wildlife. So I don't know, but the cover is amazing. I need everybody. Hold on, look at this one. Look at it right here.
Is it furries? No.
No, it's definitely not.
No. Charlie's like, no.
Yeah.
I know those guys. That's not them.
It's,
What's that title again?
oh,
Brian's gonna find it.
The Adventures
Dog
of
Man?
Rabbit Woman and Dog Man.
Okay, I thought you said rabid woman, which is why I said the Clintons.
Oh, good God.
Y'all fired.
Yeah, I love that.
And you know what that is? A Southern Bella's Guide to Restoring Federalism and Draining the Swamp.
What?
I had to say it like that.
What the fuck is this?
Oh my God. They published the
These are-
116th edition of the Shooter's Bible.
This is a publishing house.
116.
This is a publishing house for people that thought that the publishing house that put out Ken Cuccinelli's book was too mainstream.
No.
Oh, good God.
Oh, here's one for everybody. The Great Football Trivia Challenge. 600 questions to test your knowledge.
How many of them are true?
Flying for peanuts.
I mean, it was a war of northern aggression.
It was. Yes. We all learned that in Virginia. Okay.
Everyone go to this website and browse.
Did Brian
Hold
did
on.
you
Have you
find
filibustered long enough?
The Adventures of Rabbit Woman and Dog.
Yes,
I hope it's the same cover. I hope
Save wildlife.
I hope
Yes.
they ain't got. I hope,
Seen the cover.
all right. I hope they don't have any alternate covering as the
Oh,
cover
God. I'm
that
worried.
I have
You
shown.
see a whole bunch of animals.
Oh my God! It's a menagerie.
You're using a lot of big words. He's one of those literate ones. Get him.
The woke mob.
What was
Oh
the
my
line?
God.
Let's make mincemeat out of these literatis. Hey, that's a little too clever. He's one of them.
I'm
A
telling.
witch.
Yeah, right. All right, Brian, did you find
Hold on.
it?
Oh my God.
Are-
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, are you gonna? Put
It's
it on the screen for the good
actually
people?
it's kind of difficult to bring it up.
The
'cause
joy
it's-
of keeping chickens, ducks, and turkeys.
Okay, well,
let's see.
The first two I kind of get. There is no joy in keeping turkeys. Those
There
are
is-
some,
I
those
can't.
are-
I can't
those are-
capture.
All right,
Those
all
are
right.
some, those are some mean motherfuckers.
I'll just keep dropping random titles at
I
random
keep-
times during this show.
I keep turkeys.
whenever there's a
so-
lull.
Oh yeah, I'll keep because there's more that I have not got to. I just ran through a lot.
All right, well, here, this next one is called How to Lose a Bunch of Money. So, as we mentioned, Elon sucks. So, Twitter, his mama named him Twitter. I'm going to call him Twitter, as J. Scott Smith told us. Twitter
Sucks.
sucks now. Elon bought it for $44 billion. At the time,
And a kitchen sink, apparently.
that's right.
Yes.
Yes, you remember that, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
How can we forget?
At the time, I guess the best analyst said this was really worth about $30 billion, and that he
At
overpaid.
most.
He overpaid by about $15 billion.
The way it used to work as well.
Yeah.
Not this new rendition of it.
So Fidelity disclosed what it believes is the value of the shares in Twitter, and those estimates serve as a closely watched barometer for the overall health of the company. At the end of August, those shares were worth just $4.2 million, according to a Sunday filing by Fidelity's blue chip fund. That new estimate marks a 24% drop in value from what Fidelity estimated at the end of July, and it represents a staggering decline of 79% from the $19.8 million that Fidelity estimated shares were worth in October of 22 when Musk bought Twitter. It's lost nearly 80% of its value. That's a crazy thing. You couldn't...
And this is an app where porn is still legal.
Yeah, it's an app where, like, you know, there's so much opportunity.
And it's just great.
And Wendy's is still out there. I mean, people join Twitter just to follow Wendy's. It's great. But it doesn't work. He fired all the people. There's no content moderation. The whole thing is a disaster. Our show doesn't broadcast on there live anymore because they want me to pay for a premium subscription. Crazy. I'm not doing that, Elon. Shut up. Why? You're the Twitter guy.
There's
nuance this.
Why?
Baseball's over for you.
Baseball's over, so I have nothing else to say. I might get shadow banned.
No, that only happens to conservatives.
Exactly, only conservatives.
On Elon's Twitter.
I mean, let's break down a few areas of this, right? I think, why did Elon Musk purchase Twitter? Like, it's clear now, and there was a book I had here earlier, or maybe a few months ago on there. It was.
You sure it wasn't about the dog man and the rabbit
woman?
It
was not. Hold on. Get it right. It is.
It's rabbit woman, rabbit adventure, dog man.
Right? But there was a book, and it was called Techno-Feudalism. And one thing that the author Giannis talked a lot about was he talked about Elon specifically, and there not being many fiefdoms that people could control, cloud fiefdoms, right? Twitter is a cloud fiefdom that now is under his control, and I think that's why you purchase it. And, like, that's half of it. The other half is also, I think, more trivial, is he wants to be the cool kid.
Yeah.
He wants his
It's
stuff.
a feather in his cap.
Yeah, it's like almost kind of how billionaires purchase sports teams. Like, you don't really and the sports teams actually make money.
Sometimes.
But most of the time.
Not if you're Dan Snyder.
He sold it for.
No, I know.
Like he made money.
But okay.
But again, in this case here, it's about controlling a part of the cloud.
And
he
part
does
of the
that.
culture.
And then where I start to think is that his investors, he put up a lot. There's a lot of money.
This is a guy who was all gung ho about hosting Saturday Night Live.
And he was terrible at it.
It was one of their worst episodes.
He cares
he's
a
so
lot.
in his own head about how other people think of him.
If I looked like him and I was South African, I would be confused too.
Yeah,
but I'm just like, again, I see the play, and also what he's able to do is push things like the story we told before the break. A brown female, like he platforms this information.
Yeah, but
he
did he
controls
want
it.
that when he got it?
Because again, where is he kind of chosen, or who is he chosen to lay down with? Trump, with this conservative Silicon Valley is seen. There's a lot of them. There's Peter Thiel. They know where they want to go, whether it's with AI, whether it's leaving the planet, as he also is proficient at doing, right?
He's apparently never seen Don't Look Up.
Right.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, we wish that will happen to him.
No, well, it happened to us as well.
No, the end of it.
The end of the last part.
Yeah.
That's, of course, that. Anyways, I won't ruin that for anyone.
Look, I knew a movie thing.
Look, me too.
Oscar-nominated movie.
Yeah.
Look at us.
See? Culture.
But yeah, no, he controls an area of the internet, and he also knows that he almost has everyone by the balls, because whether it's government, whether it's journalists, whether it's just people who enjoyed the platform, everybody wants it to be what it was.
And he gets to fuck with people.
Yeah,
he gets to fuck with people on a massive scale. Like the whole thing where declaring that NPR was state-run media.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then when anyone would email the press office, they'd automatically get a response to the poop emoji.
We got the poop emoji. Yeah.
That's him. That's because he likes that idea of being a troll on this massive scale.
Yeah, and I think
is this what happens when nerds get bullied? I mean, is this to the nth degree here?
Well, it used to be you get things like the iPhone. Now you get this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is true. It's just unfortunate because there's a user base again that wants it to be what it's never going to be again, and these things they have to happen organically. Like whatever the next thing is, I don't think people are still searching for that. It sounds like they're trying to. And I say this all the time. If you're on there trying to have serious conversations, good luck.
The thing though is, I never thought that a platform like Twitter was meant for having serious
Me
conversations.
It can though. It can.
Everybody
I'll never
forced it
forget
to
when I
do
first
that.
realized it on. And it was on Twitter though. It was on Facebook, so,
Right.
and it was right before Twitter became a big thing. When a friend of mine was like, "Here, there's this person saying stupid shit on my timeline. Counter him."
Yeah.
And after like 2 or 3 replies, I'm like, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever. This is not. There is no."
I remember a time where that was a piece of sort of internet culture where you'd get a note or a notification or something. Your friend would like tag you in, come help me fight this argument, and of course I jumped in. I was like, yeah, let me flame this guy and call him a bunch of names or whatever.
I think it also
the
for
dumbest
me,
wasted time you could
for me
imagine.
though, it also comes from I was never a message boards person. I was never a message.
Oh, you didn't
board.
have that.
Well, no, I
No,
was
he
never.
just
I
never
was
grew up
never
in
into.
that.
I grew up with.
Yeah, but that wasn't your
I
thing.
was never someone who was attracted to that kind of thing.
Okay.
I never flocked to message boards, so I think that whole thing was kind of like beyond me at that.
I
point.
think
So I came to that conclusion about that kind of thing, with regard to Facebook very quickly, and that attitude immediately moved over to Twitter.
So
as well.
you're better off. You're better than I am, really. Honestly, although I will say the message board thing taught me to be a good writer, because if you have typos, if you have nonsensical or bad grammar,
you get elected
you
president.
get
That's true.
yeah, but
You skipped over.
no matter how good your argument is or how cogent your thought is, you get absolutely
It's not
blasted
Yeah, exactly.
for having one typo. So you have to edit, you have to write carefully, you have to have good, sentence structure, all of that kind of it makes you a better writer. But anyway, I don't know. Elon,
And also, too, remember, this is like, he's also the government's, defense contractor.
in
Right? Like,
several governments defense
Yeah,
contractors.
so
And
also...
he's the world's internet contractor with Starlink.
Yeah, and it's... When do you rein this in? Because it's fine what you do with Twitter in your privately owned company. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Please, do what you want. We want to be the serfs on that fucking shit? Cool. Let's be that. That's up to us. But with the government, though, no. They especially shit you're shooting, you're using government property to shoot out into space? No, there needs to be, obviously, regulation.
It does start to become this question. Like, if Elon is platforming stuff that says that FEMA is coming to take your house, and he's also
amplifying it. Like, it's crazy. Like,
but he's
and
also
putting it on
getting
his personal feed.
Yeah.
which I can't help but see.
And forcing it on his 200 million followers.
Like I can't stand Twitter now because every ad I get is for something right wing or conservative, and I've never given anything other than possibly like checking like something that's posted on a left wing account when they're saying, "Hey, look at this." I don't know how this.
No, it's obvious. If you can look, if you've been on that platform for however many 10 plus years, I guess we're going to 2009 or such. Yeah, right. If you've been on that platform, you can look and be like, "Oh, for me, for you, who is this for? This ain't for me."
Mine gets really myopic really fast, right? So like when the Orioles lost, I couldn't get anything other than Orioles Twitter.
Because the engagement.
Twitter knows that I like the Orioles.
And you would engage with that.
I engaged with like 2 accounts, and then it was nothing but.
That's all you
literally could not scroll to get to news. I could only get to that. And
they're at a lot. Not just that, it's just anything
what
that...
news?
Anything...
What news?
There's news, but the thing is...
Go to a website.
No, anything that you try to follow, if you're following a certain people or following a certain hashtag or whatever, it bombards you with it.
It absolutely floods you.
And the sad thing is like it's from other people who retweet or, and everything, or I don't know what they call it now, or X, but it's just... I don't want this half the time. And it's like sometimes you just want to, again, just like the Orioles, it was ridiculous.
Twitter. Like I want to.
And you can't train this algorithm.
No,
you can't. That's the whole purpose of the algorithm.
It's gotten
you're supposed to be able to train it.
But it's gotten so ham-fisted and so blunt that it figures out one thing and it's only that thing. So this is what happens when Elon wrecked the company, right? There's nothing there. There's no whatever. He lost a bunch of money on it. Fuck him.
And the sad thing with this, there was a guy I was following because as he was a Raven fan, but sadly finding out he's a Trumpista. So And yeah, the thing is
national fan.
most of the things he
A lot
was
of them.
retweeting was a lot of this Republican stuff, and I was like, dude, I know we're part of the flock, but I gotta untweet you. I didn't tell him this, but it's just that I just had to
He
stop
didn't
following
care.
him. Yeah, I don't care, but it's just, to me, it's like when this bad algorithm, it just destroys the whole platform to the point where you start unfollowing a lot of people that you follow them for a certain purpose, and it's just ridiculous. And I don't think he's gonna want to fix this.
No.
No, he doesn't want to fix it. This is now working the way he wants it to.
The users will eventually,
Even though
move
it's
on.
not profitable.
Yeah, no, because
It doesn't matter.
It is profitable.
Look
He's
at how
won.
much he's lost.
But he's won in a different way. Again, he's won. He's able to control information.
You know what else, though? It's really important to remember that the $44 billion that he paid for it, he didn't come up
I
with
keep
that
saying
money.
that,
He
yeah.
borrowed that money.
So let's not to just. There's a lot of people you could throw under the bus with this, but let's just say I'm in Saudi Arabia. It's something that I want to be broadcasted across Twitter. I might have a say in that because, again, he took a lot of Saudi money to do this, right?
Or not, though, right? Because they might say, hey, look, buddy, we gave you a bunch of money, put this on the platform. And he might say, I don't care, I'm dark stupid, and then, like, not do it. And then the bone saws.
I was just about to say.
I was like,
Like, Elon may have
MBS
stepped
don't
in,
play that shit.
Yeah, he might have
I
stepped
know,
in some
right.
stuff here.
yeah.
He doesn't know. Speaking of stepping in stuff, all right, Charlie, one of your many talents is that you can do the voice of the former guy. So here's the story, and then we're gonna have you explain to us why this is not the story. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Thousands of copies of Trump's "God Bless the USA" Bible were printed in China. In fact, all of them. Global trade records reviewed by the Associated Press show a printing company in China's eastern city of Guangzhou shipped close to 120,000 of the Bibles to the United States.
All went to Oklahoma.
Yes, in early February and late March. The estimated value of three separate shipments was $342,000, or less than $3 a Bible. Okay, just to set the price point out there, according to databases that uses custom data to track exports, the minimum price for a Trump Bible is $59.99, putting the potential sale revenue at about $7 million. Chump change. The Trump Bible connection to China, which has not been previously reported, reveals a deep divide. I think it was previously reported because everybody assumed it was true. Between the former president's harsh anti-China rhetoric and his rush to cash in while campaigning. A version of the Bible memorializes the July 13th assassination attempt of the former president in Pennsylvania. Trump's name is on the cover above the phrase, "The day God intervened."
Which means that God wanted that firefighter to die.
That's right. The wording, which got me in a lot of trouble, the wording appears to have been stamped on after the Bible was produced, as is
Like
par for the
like
course.
that extended hurricane pad.
Yes, yeah, where the Sharpie, that's right. Trump said Saturday his would-be assassin did not succeed, quote, by the hand of providence and the grace of God. The Bibles are sold exclusively through a website that states it's not affiliated with any campaign, nor is it owned or controlled by Trump. A photo posted on the website shows Trump sitting at his desk in the Oval Office with Lee Greenwood standing behind him. In another photo, the former president smiles broadly while holding a copy of the Bible. Okay, so former President Trump, what's up with your $3 Chinese Bible?
Dreaming in Russian.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a very tricky thing when you have this sort of thing with, you know, the with the Bible coming in China, but we have these trade wars that we're going through right now, and it's a very tricky situation, like what we have with the child care and all and Ukraine and all of that with the money, but we're going to be making all this money through all these Bible, and we can finance things through the private sector, like with buying the health insurance, buy it with the states and across the states, and we like going with the states. I was very proud with the Roe v. Wade decision and how we sent things back to the states and said the states can do it. And the state of mind about how certain things are. And State of Play is a great movie, by the way, that you can watch on Prime. It's an incredible movie. And though I don't like Jeff Bezos that much, the movie State of Play and State of the Nation with that Brendan Gleeson guy, he did a great job playing me, by the way. He was great playing me. But, the whole thing with the China and the South Africa and education, it's all part of an interconnected web that we all sort of play a part in. And, the thing is, I'm really rich.
Right. Okay.
Out of the shadows, my life inside the wild world of Hunter Biden.
And other poems by Maya Angelou.
All right. So suppose there's a whale that's swimming along and it wants to buy one of these Bibles, but it can't because it's been near one of those cancer-causing windmills. What would you tell that whale to do?
Well, you gotta move with the jet stream, and I feel you gotta move with that. And since you're in water, normally you'd say go with the flow, but they're whales, they're big, and they can go against the current because they're so fat, like Rosie O'Donnell. And it's,
oh my!
I mean, or Chris Christie, and and have you ever seen him breach out of the water with his blowhole? It's an incredible sight if you ever get a chance to see it.
Free Christie.
Oh no! Oh no! Chris Christie fell on our son. What a mess!
Okay.
And that's how I saved Christmas.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
The Anti-Globalist Manifesto, Ending the War on Humanity. Forward by Stephen K. Bannon.
Oh my God.
He's so
Did
sexy.
he write it in jail? He's still in
Those
jail.
chapped kneecaps.
Oh my God.
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
All right.
Heard someone say he looks like if Nick Offerman drowned.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break.
Oh, we got a perfect time for a break.
Yeah,
It's
and
for the final session.
is it time for a
Yes,
Vader
the
session?
final. This is the final
All right,
Vader
so here's
session.
what we're going to do. We're going to take a break and play a Vader session. When we come back, Charlie's going to tell us about the award shows. We missed an Emmy. There was too many Emmys this year.
Yeah, there were too many Emmys this year.
And then the Oscars are coming up.
Yep.
So Charlie's going to catch us up on all of this stuff. So we're going to have some culture on the show finally after whatever that was. So
Are
right.
we the next endangered species?
Oh my God.
Bioweapons, eugenics, and more.
Oh my God.
And zesty low-cal chicken recipes.
Oh my God. Take this website away from me. All right, Brian, we're gonna play the tape, Brian. You're listening to Chit Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
Open the blast doors. Open the blast doors. I'm James Earl Jones, and I played the part of
Darth Vader.
orbiting the planet at maximum velocity. Bingo. We got our backs up against the wall. No place to go. You say we get back in the car and going back where we come from. It's all over, man. What do you want?
We count 30 rebel ships, Lord Vader, but they're so small they're evading our turbo lasers.
You've been out of your mind for the last 3.5 hours. Sit down before you fall down. Guys, come in here. We'd like to maintain the current level of black representation on the committee, so let's go for the stroll.
and probably will be the last.
La 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 la. That's enough. La 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 la.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like the frogs. Gay. Friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Frogs. Place point.
Well, welcome back to Chip Chat, everyone.
I have conquered Chip's role here.
Yeah, it's over with.
Yeah.
All that's
The-
left. No, we got the beer still with us.
Our long national nightmare is over.
You know what you got to play, bro. You keep, as it's coined. That was coined after the time you slammed the.
Wait, is that me? That's
Well, no,
what
that's
I'm
not you.
saying?
But you,
Oh,
it's,
okay.
it's based on you slamming.
Oh yeah, when I got
you-
after the when I was profiling the Virginia governor's race.
Yes,
yeah.
he was like, "Well, you just shut the fuck up." That shit. I laughed. I'm sorry, I didn't have anything else for you.
No, that's the right reaction.
I had nothing else but laughter. That was.
Charlie also was there when Ojeda told us how he would eat Mitch
Yes,
McConnell.
yes.
So it turns out, you're very.
The funny thing though is that his cat actually stole the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, your cat stole the show. Then like,
Another
the
one,
next,
another time,
yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
next time on, or maybe 2 times. I don't know. Whatever. You've been here a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll eat Mitch McConnell.
I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, so Charlie, you're here not just to hang out with us and provide voices and commentary and all this other kind of stuff, but you're actually an expert at several things.
A couple things, yeah.
Yeah, award shows in particular.
Yeah.
Okay, and you write for GoldDerby.com?
Yep, still do.
Have been for like 10 years now?
This was I just passed 12 years.
12?
Yeah.
Jesus. Good Lord. Okay, we've known each other much longer than I thought. That's very
I know,
impressive.
yeah.
I'm pretty proud of that. All right, good. Well, while I am proud to count Charlie as one of my friends, you, the listeners and viewers, may not know all of the great things that Charlie knows, which is why we brought him here tonight to tell us all of the things that had happened. So, Charlie, why were there 2 Emmys this year?
So, yes, because of the big writer's strike last year, the combination writer's strike and the actors' strike. The Emmys, which are normally held in September, the strike was still in full swing after the Emmy nominations came out. So they decided to, even though they kept the voting schedule the same, they postponed the ceremony to January.
Okay.
And fortunately, the strike ended, I believe, in December.
Yeah.
So they were able to have their ceremony. So they had, Ernst & Young sat on the winners for.
They already done the voting.
Voting had happened in August of last year,
and nobody squealed.
Nobody squealed. Yeah.
So wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, they're senior partners at the firm.
Yeah. Okay. So conspiracies. All right.
Yeah. So that's why back then we had the sweep of the Bear in comedy
why is that called?
Okay, the reason the Bear is in comedy is because the default way that they determine where a show goes is length of the show. This happened after Orange is the New Black's first season competed in the comedy categories. The following year, the Emmys made a rule change. So they said, okay, if you're a 30-minute show, you're automatically in comedy. If you're an hour show, you're automatically in drama. But you can appeal. It will go to a committee. And so like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel would normally have been put in drama. They appealed because it is a comedy.
It's a comedy.
It is a comedy.
Sure.
They appealed, and yes, they competed in comedy. That's why Transparent, the Jeffrey Tambor show, competed in comedy.
Okay, but the Bear, because it's 30 minutes.
A half-hour show.
Automatic.
By default,
and they decide, and FX decided to not appeal it because they feel they can win. It's better chances for a win.
How did they? Sure. What went into making that determination? Like I kind of get it.
I think that's just it was just an easier way to just automatically rather than shows just saying, oh, we're just gonna try this. It was an automatic classification thing.
Because I understand that, clearly there's some gray area, these dramedies, as they call them.
Yeah, and then, like, a show like Transparent, the Jeffrey Tambor show, I actually liked it in comedy because I thought it had a bit of an absurdist appeal to it.
Yeah.
And it worked for me on that level because especially if you're Jewish, you definitely it definitely has a humor that if you're not Jewish, you may not understand. There's that sort of thing. So that's why they did that, and that's why the Bear has done that.
Okay, and that's not to say that there aren't funny moments.
Although I haven't finished watching season 3. I watched the first 3 episodes of season 3, and I stopped because it's not because I didn't like it. It just got very repetitive, and so I will pick it back up at some point. But then season 2 was fantastic.
Aren't you required to watch all this stuff?
Well, this past Emmys, the ones that just happened was for season 2.
Okay, so so the ones that happened in January were for last year.
Were the ones that were going to happen in 2023.
Okay, and then the ones that happened like 3 weeks ago.
That was for the 2023-2024 season.
And so, Jimmy Kimmel hosted all of them.
Jimmy Kimmel hosted. No, he did not host this one, but even though it was on ABC, Dan and Eugene Levy hosted this year.
Oh, that's right.
The one that was back in January was on Fox. That was hosted by Anthony Anderson.
Okay, and Kimmel hosts
the Oscars.
Now?
He hosted the Oscars, so he will not be doing it this upcoming.
And they get Billy Crystal is coming back. Is that what I heard?
We do not know who a host has not been nailed down. The top choice I have heard from reports is the top choice to host this year's Oscars is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Oh.
That is the top choice.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
And that it does happen that that is a Marvel franchise, which is owned by Disney, which owns ABC.
Okay, there we go.
That kind of works. But Jimmy Kimmel does have, I believe, through his contract with ABC for his show, has right of first refusal. For the Oscars.
Heard he said he was done with it.
He said no.
It's like Premier League.
And I believe that they also, and I believe that after him, they offered it to John Mulaney, and he said no.
Okay. But he's written some of the stuff for some of these things,
and he presented last year. Yeah. He was fantastic as a presenter.
He's always fantastic.
Yeah, and he hosted the Governor's Awards, which is where they get out the honorary awards.
Right.
His opening monologues on YouTube, it's an amazing set.
Did he bring the horse?
He did not bring the horse.
Okay.
He did not
He's
bring
still
the horse.
In the hospital.
I think the horse has still been in the hospital since he got out of rehab.
That's a fantastic joke. Okay, so what happened in the Emmys?
So this year's Emmys,
that we need to know
in the drama side, was Shogun. Shogun dominated in a way. So before
and this is a remake of sorts.
Yeah, because it's based on a book, and there was a miniseries in the 70s with the 70s or 80s with Richard Chamberlain. But this one was, almost entirely in Japanese.
Right.
It was with almost all Japanese actors. Before this year's Emmys took place, the biggest win by any program for a single year was the John Adams miniseries. It won 13 Emmys total.
Yeah, crazy.
The record for a series, not a miniseries, but a regular series, was Game of Thrones. 3 years, it won 12 total.
Okay.
just at the Creative Arts Ceremony, which is all the tech Emmys, Shogun won 14 at the Creative Arts, and then won another 4 at the main Emmys, demolishing the record. 18 Emmys this year.
In 1 year.
Including drama series, lead actor in a drama, a lead actress, directing, and then it also won, and then it won 14 tech at the...
Right,
just cleaned up.
Is
crazy.
there another season coming?
Yes, so that was the thing. At first, it was just going to be.
It was going to be a
because we thought it was going to be.
right?
We thought it was going to be a limited series.
Yeah.
And then right before the ballots went out for nominating, FX announced that there was going to be another season, so it was going to be competing in drama.
Is FX kind of the vanguard? I mean, it seems like
I would say so because they also have the Bear.
Yeah,
and they are also the first. They've been doing this for a while. They're the first.
They had Atlanta, and they're the
first basic.
Archer
They're the first basic cable network that got into a series race and this was with the show Damages, the Glenn Close show back in 2008. But even before that, they had The Shield, which Michael Chiklis grabbed.
Yeah, right, and American
Horror Story. No, and that guy, and all of FX is still run. The awards is still run by a guy named John Solberg, who I've talked to actually, by the way. When I asked a question about Archer, I emailed their press department. I got an email back from John Solberg, and he said, "Here's my number. Give me a call. We'll talk." He was an incredibly accessible guy, but he's been really the mastermind of this whole thing back from the early 2000s.
I really like a lot of the FX shows that are sort of like borderline comedy, borderline like people falling apart.
Yeah, and they do that really well.
They really do it well.
Yeah.
So the Emmys, what other notable things happened?
So on the comedy side, The Bear did dominate, but it did not pick up the Best Comedy Series prize. That went to the brilliant HBO Max show Hacks with Gene Smart, which caught me by surprise because I originally was predicting Hacks throughout most of the season, and then after Creative Arts, which The Bear dominated in, I was like, okay, it's going to win again. And sure enough, Hacks pulled it off. It's created by 3 people who used to write on Broad City, which was a brilliant show.
Really
it's actually
funny show.
So the co-creator of that show is Paul W. Downs, who played Jacob, the guy who worked at the gym with Abby. Yeah, so he's the co-creator of the show.
That's some brilliant writing.
Yeah, and if you would love Hacks,
I'm sure I would.
It's a genius show. The 3rd season was brilliant. I was so happy to see win, even though it was cool to see people like Liza Colon Zayas win supporting actress in a comedy for The Bear, who I did not realize she's married to David Zayas, who played Angel Batista on Dexter.
Okay.
When I saw them when I saw her kiss him in the audience, I was like, oh my god,
oh, that's the guy. Yeah.
That was really
too,
cool
to see him in real life.
Yeah, that was really cool. And on the limited series side, you had Baby Reindeer, the Netflix limited series, which was amazing and was one of those late breaking shows that it came in late, but then just hit the zeitgeist at the right moment. Picked up 4 awards, and Richard Gadd, the man who created and starred it, picked up 3. He won lead actor, he won writing, and he won as a producer of the show.
Wow.
What was really funny also on the drama side, the writing award went to the Apple Plus show Slow Horses, which is a fun show, which is with Gary Oldman, and it's basically about a section of MI5 that's for people who royally fuck up, but they still keep them employed, so they send them to this office.
Yeah, and he's like this old drunk guy or whatever.
He's a raging alcoholic, and it's really the creator of the show won, whose name happens to
MI5.
Whose name happens to be whose name happens to be Will Smith.
That's
and
fantastic.
when he won up on stage, the first thing he says is, "I assure you all, despite my name, I come in peace."
Yes.
So that was
really good.
So that was a fun night. So yeah, and so that was the big thing. Fargo won its first acting award. Lamorne Morris, out of nowhere, picked up supporting actor, which was like only 16 people at our website were predicting him to win.
So
that was a crazy
since you
night.
had 2 Emmys in 1 year, you got to essentially pick twice.
Yeah.
How did you do from one to the next? Did you do better in the 23 than the 24?
I think I did the same. There were certain things that I did very well in. There were certain long shots that I called that you got right. That I got right. At the one from January, I predicted the guest actress in a drama series. I predicted Storm Reed for the show The Last of Us. She was in last place in our odds, and I was like,
you were right.
And I was right. And I remember watching all of them. I was like, well, she's the best one. I don't see how any of these. I'm just gonna predict her. Fuck it. And so sure enough, I was right.
Always been on Charlie.
I also got the animated. Even though in our odds, the X-Men '97 was out front for animated program. I was saying no. Blue Eye Samurai is gonna win on Netflix from Netflix.
And
that's
you were right on that.
And I was right on that one. So yeah, I was very proud of myself on that one.
So speaking of betting on things, or not betting on exactly, but predicting outcomes, right?
Yeah.
The Oscars are coming up.
So yeah, we are in Oscar season right now. We have the festival season is in full swing. TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, wrapped up about a month ago. The New York Film Festival is happening right now. Next week, I will be at the Middleburg Film Festival.
You get to vote in these things now, right?
As an audience member, I get to vote on Middleburg, but I don't get to vote for the Oscars.
Okay.
The only thing I actually vote for is the Spirit Awards, but I have to pay to be a member of that.
But you do get all the screeners and stuff.
I do get the screeners, yes.
So your consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that phrase way too often. It's one of those things where I see it and I say it so often, it's lost all meaning.
Wow.
Well, it means you're important. So the Oscars, when are the Oscars going to be?
They're going to be in March. I can't remember the specific date, but they are going to be in March.
Okay, so that's a change too in the time, right? Aren't they usually in February or something like that?
They've usually been in either February or March. After the pandemic, because the first one after the pandemic they went to April, and now they've moved it back to March because they don't want to go too quickly. Because I remember the 2019 season, which was the first, right before the pandemic hit in 2020. You had the first 5 weeks of the year. Each one was an award show. It was the Globes, then Critics' Choice, then SAG, then DGA, WGA, and then the Oscars. It was one right after the other.
So they spread them out a little bit.
They spread it out a bit more. So it's a bit more of a let's have some breathing room, which I like.
It's probably a good idea.
Which I like. Yeah.
I am a woman taking back our name.
I bet they didn't have any choice in that one.
But it's the states. The states decided now.
That's right.
So what I was thinking here is that I would just give you a rundown.
Yeah. So
of
what's coming up in the Oscars?
So
what do we need to watch before? So
I have
like we know
right
what we're
here.
Talking about.
I have what we have right now at Gold Derby. Our odds for what right now are the 10 films that are out front to be nominated for Best Picture.
Okay.
At number 1, we have this film called Honora. This is the big film. This has won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. It's doing really well in the festival circuit. It's a comedy drama about a young sex worker from Brooklyn who meets and impulsively marries the son of a Russian oligarch. Once the news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. It's the latest from Sean Baker, who did The Florida Project, Red Rocket, and Tangerine.
This is a very Oscar-y sort of movie.
Yeah,
kind of, but Sean Baker's has never really been that fortunate at the Oscars. The most has been The Florida Project, which got Willem Dafoe a Best Supporting Actor nomination.
Yeah, but this plot idea is a thing that like mainstream America is not going to see this movie. But like all of the
you never know. You never know though. Like a film like Parasite, back in 2019, a South Korean film hit the zeitgeist and it just hit it in the right way. Yeah. And the same studio that was behind Parasite, Neon, is behind got behind.
Well, I just
Honora.
mean that this is one of those things that I don't know how to call this. The people who are better than me will all see this movie, and the people who are me or not lower. Yeah. Will not see this movie because we'll be watching Minions or something like that. Yeah.
Or you could see The Wild Robot, which I just saw this weekend.
I want to see that.
It's
got that duck.
It's a goose.
Is it cute?
Okay, it is very cute, and I was crying by the end of it.
Okay,
it was
those
so
all
good.
Make me cry.
It was so good.
I love those movies. Okay, so we've got
that's at the top
marrying
spot
Russian
right now.
oligarchs. All right, that's number one.
Number 2 is a film called Emilia Perez. This is a film from French director Jacques Audiard. It is a Spanish language film. It is about a talented but underappreciated lawyer at a Mexican law firm is contacted by a notorious cartel leader to help the leader retire so they can live authentically as a woman. And so it is about it's a crime comedy.
I am a woman taking back our name.
Yes!
But here's the kicker. French director, French director, Spanish language. It's a musical
about trans
about a
people,
trans cartel leader who is seeking.
This is everything. This should win.
And here's the great thing for you.
I want to watch this.
It's going to be on Netflix. It's
I
Netflix.
gotta see this.
It's Netflix. It's coming out, I believe, either later this month or next month.
This is the most chit-chat kind of film you could imagine.
At the Cannes Film Festival, it won both the jury prize and the Best Actress award for the 4 main women including trans actress Carla Sofia Gascon. It is an actual trans actress who is playing this, but also Zoe Saldana is in this as well, and Selena Gomez. Is
there like a lesbian best friend or something like that?
One of them is bound to be.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Subarus abound everywhere.
I'm not seeing this anywhere on Blue Sky.
That's.
I remember when I first read the plot of this when I was previewing the Cannes Film Festival titles, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
I was like, there's no way.
This is the kind of a movie that when people make fun of.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So next we have Conclave, which is the one I am personally the most excited about. After the sudden death, after the sudden death of the Pope, the cardinal.
Looks good.
See, I knew. Is that one of the titles?
No,
After the sudden death of the Pope, the cardinal tasked with leading the election of his successor finds himself at the center of a conspiracy that could rock the foundations of the church, starring Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, and Isabella Rossellini.
Whoa!
Directed by Edward Berger, who directed the remake of All Quiet on the Western Front from a couple of years ago. I am most excited about this one. You know I am fascinated by papal elections.
Of course.
So
I wonder what scandal.
I can't. That's what I'm wondering too. That's what I'm wondering, because if that's supposed to be a mystery, I'm like, well,
exactly. So what is the scandal? It can't be that.
Look, if you like smoking brisket, you might like smoking popes. There's a lot of. Look for
smoking popes.
The meat is so tender and holy.
Yeah, right. No, when it turns to white smoke, they know they got the right one. That's how that works. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, not.
Next, we have a movie called The Brutalist, which has been.
It's about architecture.
Yes, it is. It is.
Really?
It is. It's about.
Ding, ding, ding! Look at you. I thought the same thing.
Look
It's
at
about
that.
Hungarian architect Laszlo Toth and his wife Erzsébet flee post-war Europe in 1987 to rebuild their legacy and witness the birth of modern America. Their lives are changed forever by a mysterious and wealthy benefactor. Starring Adrian Brody. He's getting a lot of talk right now. That if he were to get nominated, it would be his first since his win 22 years ago
Was
for
that
The Pianist.
The piano one? Yeah. Okay.
Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones, and Guy Pearce.
Is it in DC? I mean, we're like brutalism central.
No kidding. You walk around the LaFont Plaza
Yeah,
area.
I'm saying. Did we get anything in this movie?
I'm hoping so. We'll see. It's I'm gonna be seeing it.
Seen it yet.
I'm seeing it next Friday. I'm seeing it next Friday.
If it is set in DC or has anything to do with it, and they have traffic lights across the street, don't vote for it.
Yeah, I won't.
Banned.
I won't. No, trust me. I'm gonna be one of those locals going, that's not real.
That's not how that works.
Yeah. Next is one that's already come out called Sing Sing. About a man who's imprisoned at Sing Sing for a crime he didn't commit, but he finds purpose by acting in a theater group alongside other incarcerated men in this story. And it's based on a real program that's been implemented in prisons with Coleman Domingo, who was in the Rustin biopic from last year, and Clarence Macklin is also in it, and Paul Raci. Next, we have Dune Part 2, which is actually getting, I'm still a little skeptical. It's going to have to keep, sustaining its momentum.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
But yeah, it's been out for a while. That's the thing. But then again, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Remember, that came out in March and sustained its momentum throughout that.
Because it was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Exactly.
Even I saw that movie.
Let's see. Then we have Blitz, which is the new movie from Steve McQueen, who made
about football.
No, it is not.
The arcade game?
What?
It's from Steve McQueen, the man who made 12 Years a Slave and Widows. It's about a young boy is sent by his mother to live in the English countryside to protect him during the Blitz of London. But the boy embarks on a dangerous adventure to reunite with her in home with Saoirse Ronan and Harris Dickinson. Then this is going to be an interesting one. This is the closing night film at Middleburg, Nickel Boys. It's about the powerful friendship between two young African-American men navigating the harrowing trials of reform school together in Florida. Directed by Ramel Ross from Fairfax.
Wow! All right.
Yeah. So
shout out to the locals.
We also have.
Does Ron DeSantis know this is happening?
Don't tell him.
Don't tell him. It's gonna ban it.
And then in ninth place, I don't know how this is going to play. It depends on how people react to the movie. But Gladiator 2 is 9th in our odds right now.
Wow.
Wait, are we entertained or are we not entertained?
I'm ready. I'm bringing tomatoes to throw at the person who stands up and yells that in the middle of the movie.
I'm sure.
So the plot of this one is after his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, which for some reason doesn't include Joaquin Phoenix, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find strength to return to the glory of Rome to its people with Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, and Denzel Washington.
Of course.
And
Why
Ridley,
not?
and Ridley Scott in his 80s is back directing this movie.
Sure.
The man does not know when to quit.
No.
Then we have a movie called A Complete Unknown. This is the Bob Dylan biopic that's coming out. It explores Bob Dylan introducing electric guitar to his folk music act at the Newport Folk Festival in 1965 with Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, also Elle Fanning and Edward Norton, directed by James Mangold, who directed Walk the Line and a couple other films that are but then there's a couple other films that we have coming out that are going to be interesting to see. One is called September 5, which is tells a story of what happened at the Munich Olympics, but from the perspective of the broadcast journalists.
Good. So they're covering
who are covering because there was that whole thing about the rescue mission.
Yeah.
And then like 5 o'clock came, nothing happened. 5:15 happened, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, they had a TV in the room. They knew everything, so they knew that we were coming.
They knew. Oh my goodness.
So that's good. That's going to be a fascinating one.
I
can't wait to see that one. Then there's also a movie called A Real Pain. This is with Jesse Eisenberg, and he also wrote and directed this one.
Oh, that sounds right.
With him and Kieran Culkin, who play mismatched cousins who reunite for a tour through Poland to honor their late beloved grandmother.
Didn't he have another one like last year with him on a bike and stuff like that?
I can't remember if he did or not. It's not. It sounds like but it's not clicking with me for some reason.
Okay, I'll find it.
Then there's the piano lesson. Which follows the lives of a family as they deal with the themes of family legacy in deciding what to do with an heirloom, the family piano. This is directed by Malcolm Washington, Denzel's son, starring his other son, the Black Klansman himself, John David Washington.
Right.
Danielle Deadweiler, who is in Till. And she's going to be honored at Middleburg next week. And Samuel L. Jackson, who's getting a lot of talk in the supporting actor race.
You know, every once in a while he does a movie.
And
every once in a while.
Then we have the new Almodovar film, The Room Next Door, with Julianne Moore and Tilda Swinton as close friends who have fallen out of touch but become intertwined again for an extreme situation. And in 15th place, I'm going to be seeing this movie probably tomorrow or Sunday, Saturday night, the new Jason Reitman movie about the 90 minutes that led up to the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Like just right before it.
Yeah, literally the 90 minutes before the first 90-minute episode of Saturday Night Live with Gabriel LaBelle, who was in the movie The Fabelmans. He played the young version of Steven Spielberg in that movie. Dylan O'Brien plays Dan Aykroyd. Corey Michael Smith plays the man who has burned the most bridges in show business, Chevy Chase. And Matt Wood is John Belushi. It's the new Jason Reitman film. Jason Reitman directed Juno, Up in the Air, and Thank You for Smoking, who's the son of Ivan Reitman, the man who directed Ghostbusters.
Right. So, and which a lot of SNL connection there, of course.
Exactly, yeah.
So that I'd be really interested in. Is that supposed to be kind of like a documentary type of thing, or true story?
Like a docudrama, kind of. And I think it's supposed to, like, it's one of those things that just amplifies the chaos of everything.
Sure.
So that's what I've seen from the trailers, from the trailer that I saw.
Who plays Lorne?
Gabriel LaBelle.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the main guy in that movie. But you also have like I know Willem Dafoe plays one of the NBC executives in it.
Ebersol, I'm sure.
Yeah, he doesn't play Ebersol because I think he's too old to play Ebersol. But Dick Ebersol's also a main character, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
And as someone who's, we've both read a ton about. Did you ever read Tom Shale's book?
I did.
That's a great book.
It's one of my favorite things.
Tom Shales was a dick, but the book is great.
I am deeply SNL. Growing up, my family was
same,
very, very SNL. My
I was
parents
raised
watched
on
it. Yeah,
I was raised on the old episodes too, when you could rent them at Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, or Errol's.
Oh, yeah. Or Forbes.
We had Errol's in the People's Drugstore, but but yeah, I mean, going back and learning the history of all of this stuff, it all fit right, and I live it and I think about it and Okay, so I'm definitely in on that. I got to see that one.
Yeah, I can't. I'm very excited.
Is that coming out in theaters or is that streaming?
It's coming out in theaters, but depending on which studios distribute, it might be because like if it might end up on Prime or Hulu.
All right, well, keep me posted.
I'll keep you posted on that one.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else do we need to be looking out for besides those before we go to our next break?
Wall Street, the Nazis, and the crimes of the deep state.
This is a fantastic bit. You should do this forever.
Because when you said it, I was like, Oliver Stone's got another one coming out?
Oh, good Lord.
So remember when Oliver Stone did that Trade Center, did the movie about 9/11?
Yes.
Remember the Onion headline, Oliver Stone to display his one plane theory, the whole thing?
Yes.
Oh man,
Oh,
I
my
finally
God.
watched JFK for the first time a year or so ago.
I'm not gonna watch that.
It's the Donald Sutherland's the best thing in that movie.
Sure, but like the whole thing is a joke.
Yeah, no, it is,
I'm
and
not
also
watching
yeah.
that.
So yeah,
Okay.
I think those are the main movies to be watching out for. A couple other movies I saw that I think are going to be interesting. Player, I would love to see a movie like Thelma. Which is this movie with June Squibb, this 94-year-old woman. And she plays, and it's a movie that is based on something that actually happened to the writer-director's grandmother, who's still actually alive.
Where they got scammed or whatever.
Yeah, she gets scammed, and
then
she
they
decides.
go find
and it's
the person that did
it's
it.
the last performance from Richard Roundtree, and he played. It's basically, it's kind of like a buddy film with her and Richard Roundtree.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's excellent. It's funny. It has a great heart to it. I would love to see June Squibb nominated for Best Actress for this because she's so wonderful in it. There's also this film I saw called A Different Man. Sebastian Stan plays this guy with this facial deformity who is leading this awkward life, and he ends up getting it cured, but then he discovers that his looks weren't the issue. It's actually because there's this other person.
Is that not the Trump biopic?
No, he doesn't. No, that's the other one. That's The Apprentice.
Yes,
with Jeremy
right.
Strong from Succession plays Marcone.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. That is not out yet. I have heard mixed things about that, but I can't wait to see it. The other one that I saw that I really loved was oh God, I'm blanking on it. Oh my God, why can't I think of it?
Vindicating Trump, now a major motion picture.
God damn it. God damn it!
I'm here for you.
I hate all of you so much.
You keep interrupting.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
No, it's the Met Gala and Tales of Saints and Seekers. This cover is insane. Look at this.
That's what they think Oprah looks like.
Oh my God, no!
Again, for anybody who wants the listening audience wants to look it up. The Met Gala and Tales of Saints and Seekers. Sorry, you were saying.
Let's go to the break. I'll think of the movie when we
All
get
right,
back.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we've got a test talk and some other stuff. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wild. You don't want to miss it.
We'll be wild.
It's not like being black. How sexual activists hijacked the civil rights movement.
What?
What is false?
What the fuck is? No, stop reading these.
Skyhorse Prophecy, baby.
No. All right, we're taking a break. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Let me try again.
No. Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping, y'all?
Hanging out with us is Charlie. Say hi to the people, Charlie.
Hi to the people, Charlie.
There you go. All right, so now we would normally do the Tez talk, but we do have something that we needed to correct.
I forgot. So the one film I forgot that I don't know if it'll be a big Oscar player, but you should definitely see this movie. It's called The Substance.
I heard about that.
Okay, yeah, I was actually
Brian
thinking of you.
knows about
I was
it.
actually thinking of you when I was preparing for this today. So it's not a horror movie, but it has elements of body horror to it.
Okay.
So like David Cronenberg's The Fly and American Werewolf in London, and Demi Moore, incredible in this movie. She plays an aging actress who's now hosting a fairly successful exercise show, but she hits the dreaded milestone of turning 50.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
But she finds out about this thing called the substance, which creates a newer, younger, more improved version of yourself. But there are certain rules you have to play by if you're going to use this thing. And her new self kind of decides to say fuck it with the rules.
Okay.
It is twisted. It is crazy.
Who plays the younger Demi Moore?
Margaret Qualley.
Okay.
She's been in a lot of things recently. She also happens to be the daughter of Andy McDowell.
Okay.
She's fantastic in it. Dennis Quaid is also in it as the head of the network, who I have never been so disgusted watching someone eat shrimp before.
Okay.
There's a scene you'll know the scene when you see it.
No.
But it is a batshit insane movie in the best way possible. I highly recommend it. I love that movie. So I loved that movie.
Okay. Now for something completely different. Quoting.
Look at these dead ass birds.
Yeah. All right. So Tez, what's Bob Woodward up to?
The total state, how liberal democracies
No,
became
that's not-
tyrannies.
Thank you for waiting until I was done.
I got you. I'll let you continue. No. Sorry. This is. I had another one there, but I was like, that's kind of offensive.
That's kind of okay.
that one.
All right.
Yo, man, that's not cool.
That one there is not cool. No, obviously, journalism is alive. Right?
It is.
It is alive.
Yeah.
Still alive, actually, right? Obviously,
It's Pledge Drive this week on WAMU, by the way.
Yeah,
so,
donate.
You're tired of listening to them begging for money, you can listen to old episodes of Chip Chat.
Oh, wow. Okay, of course. No, Bob Woodward, as he seems to do, I think he's on kind of a 4-year. Feels like he's on every 3 to 4 years. He's going out and doing real journalism, and he actually uncovered some things I thought was actually rather shocking. I don't know if maybe we're beyond shocked, I guess, at this point. But I thought
I'm interested what you think is shocking out of what he uncovered, because to me it all seemed kind of like,
First one there, the corona test, right?
Yeah.
And that, I think, to me was shocking. And for folks who haven't read it, like when Trump was in office in 2020, he sent the coveted test for the disease to Russian President
Which
Vladimir.
were in short supply.
Yeah,
at the time.
exactly.
A lot of people
You
forget.
couldn't-
nobody
Might
could
that.
get him. Right?
You
And
couldn't
he sent
find
them
them.
to
Remember,
Putin.
he was the one who said at the CDC in Atlanta, anyone who wants a test, get it. And everyone's like, no.
Yeah, so obviously there weren't tests, but he sent the few that there were, he sent them to Putin.
Some might say that's an act of treason.
Technically, you got to be at war to be committing treason.
We'll just add it. We'll add it. We'll put it on his tab.
Yeah.
We'll put it right. We'll just put it right. Exactly.
Give it to Flynn.
And they talked about how Putin was obviously petrified of contracting deadly illness. And he accepted supplies but cautioned Trump not to reveal that he had shared them for concern for the political fallout that the U.S. president would suffer. The U.S. president would suffer.
I think he would. I think it was a twofold thing. First,
Right.
he was afraid it would make him look weak.
Exactly. Let's start
But
there.
also, he likes having Trump in the White House, and he thought that would make
All right,
Trump
here,
look weak.
do it. There's the line right there. So do it in Putin.
Oh, God. Someone's going out the window.
Please don't tell anybody you sent these to me. You got to give some credit to the death squads.
Right, yes. and Trump's response was? He says, I don't care.
I don't care. Fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm not shocked by any of
But
that.
that, for the United States president, take Trump out of it because he's still the United States president. to do that is insane.
The thing that's shocking to me is that we're only finding out about this now because of how many people had to be involved in doing this thing.
That couldn't, because also
none of them talked.
Because also no one could talk because that would actually tank.
They all signed NDAs.
Right. But that also tanked the election too, right? You can't have that.
And at that point it was just loyalists.
Yeah.
Remember, it's 2020 at that point.
I guess so.
There were at that point, other than just like the cabinet secretaries themselves, it was.
But
loyalists.
there's like FedEx people involved. Like somebody's got to know. You know, the stuff's
don't know what's in the boxes.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Okay.
I mean, and also in this, right? They mentioned, which again, the book war suggests that Trump and Putin may have spoken as many as 7 times since Trump left the White House in 2021. Kind of interesting.
We're gonna revisit that.
Well, we'll revisit that right there. Yep. So I mean, that was also part of that.
Pin in that one.
This one obviously not really surprising that Biden likes to cuss. Me too.
Yeah,
the man is an Irish Catholic boy from Pennsylvania and Delaware. Of course he curses.
That's
like
what he does.
The only thing that's surprising about him is that he doesn't drink.
That is the one.
That is shocking.
That's shocking.
And I think actually the most impressive thing is that he doesn't slip. He doesn't cuss in public.
Well, yeah, he only.
I think the
last big one was big fucking deal.
Yeah, but that was
stupid son of a bitch.
A lot of people. But here's the thing:
son of a
you may
bitch.
not
You got
remember.
that one too.
You may not remember there was a near slip. The vice presidential debate in 2012 against Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, most people were talking about him saying malarkey and everything.
Yeah.
But at another point, I think soon after that, after Ryan, lied about a bunch of shit, he said, "You saw Biden go, that's a bunch of stuff."
Yeah.
And you could tell he was like, "That's a load of shit."
The thing I like about him is when he's about to say the thing and he goes, "I got to be careful here." And then you know that is shorthand for this fucking guy. I can't,
exactly.
Or he's about to say something that does not fly in 2024.
Nah.
You know that's a sometimes thing.
Yeah.
You know that's a sometimes thing.
It is. But I think that that's one of the things that Biden and Harris share most in common is their ability to restrain themselves when the word motherfucker comes up and they replace it with former president.
I will say, I actually think that Kamala, just with her facial expressions, is great at substituting it with her facial expressions. Like this.
Yeah,
that iconic.
This motherfucker right there.
Once I saw that, I was like, that's an icon.
That's
perfect. An icon.
I think in this potty mouth, like, but we shouldn't get lost in like, oh, we know that Biden cusses. I think for who Biden is and his policy towards the state of Israel, his comments about Netanyahu are actually what the story is here.
I think that is actually
he says,
true.
Quote, that son of a bitch, Bibi Netanyahu, he's a bad guy. He's a bad fucking guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he should know. I mean, this was a man who was the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Whose relationship with Netanyahu goes back to when Netanyahu was leading the protests against Rabin before he was assassinated.
Back in the 90s, yeah, absolutely.
That is a shot. That is a jarring statement for him to
me.
Make.
It at least shows that he at least understands that on that level. That Netanyahu's fucking insane.
Yeah, but I think that is.
I don't think any of that's shocking. I think you're talking about Joe Biden, who has a good understanding of the situation in Israel, probably better than any current American politician.
Yeah,
and he very clearly understands the danger that Bibi poses to the world order and to Israel itself. I mean, the guy is a maniac. He's perpetuating this forever war just to stay in power and stay out of jail.
And he's going to drag us into it.
He's trying to drag us into it at a tremendous rate, and he's presided over the deaths of untold thousands of people, and he's putting the people of Israel in tremendous peril. Bibi is a fucking bad guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that just as a lefty American. Like, a lot of Israel thinks that too. The only way he ever gets them back on his side is by provoking Hezbollah and then bombing them. That is a fucking bad guy. Moving on.
So the other half of the Abraham Accords, MBS.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously MBS, right? I guess de facto prime minister really of Saudi Arabia.
Kind of.
Right.
Apparently, he's a spoiled little child, though.
Yes, that's what they were mentioned here, and like, I mean, that kind of tracks a little bit just on kind of how he, like, again, maybe not as surprising.
And that was from Blinken.
But coming from Blinken, I mean, again, I'm not really surprised by that comment there. I do think his relationship with Lindsey Graham is very interesting.
I'm not shocked by that either.
But
it didn't surprise me either.
Yeah, I think
it
that's
didn't surprise me because to me, it's like the way that Graham has been positioning, especially over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't like. Of course, he would be the intermediary. He makes perfect sense like that. If you can't use Jared, use him.
Yeah, actually,
well, and he wants to be.
He wants
right?
to be.
Like
yeah, because he's a pathetic lapdog.
Yeah, but Graham, for all of the things that he is also this like warmongering hawk.
Yeah,
he's just always looking for a reason to start a war.
He's Liz Cheney without the
ethics. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, none of that shocks me. And the diplomats occasionally have undiplomatic things to say about other diplomats. Also doesn't shock me. I know a bunch of them. They say a lot of horrible shit against each other. Because who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean this is where we live. I
go home and I'm like, yo, these fucking guys I do radio with are a bunch of... No, I'm kidding. I don't do that. Tez does every week. He had told me, he's like, fucking Chip kept me there all night.
That's right.
That's
This show doesn't usually last 7 hours.
He usually does.
Doesn't?
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, Charlie.
But all of a sudden, we decided to be the fish version of talk radio.
That's right. Vote of confidence. Okay.
I hear where y'all are coming from on this. I still think that this not breaking for as long as it's been, like, I do think that's something as well too. Like, again, I haven't heard any of these stories to this point.
Well, it's also I think it's a bit jarring because we're not used to people being after the 4 years of Trump. It's a bit jarring to be back with people that are much more disciplined.
Yeah,
that are much more disciplined. And you don't have as many people that are as eager to go to the press.
Everybody was going to the press in that administration.
I think that's probably the right call here. Is that for a long time, State Department was pretty quiet. These guys wouldn't talk, and DOD didn't talk.
No one talked.
Yeah, it was, and to his credit though, it was pretty disciplined under Tillerson.
Yeah.
But then when Pompeo
for like
came
6 weeks.
Yeah, but then when Pompeo came in. Then it all went to shit.
Yeah, then it was just all backstabbing nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So why does all of this matter?
Well, I mean, we do have an election again that's coming up. Like, again, but I don't know if this information dropping now is the same effect as like the Comey and what he dropped prior to like Hillary, like
we got a whole month left,
and more could happen.
I mean, we just had the headline today that inflation is down to its lowest level in recent or in history or in recent memory. It's
and the jobs report was very strong. We're basically at full employment. I don't know if you heard Goolsby on Marketplace today, but he was trying to saying, look, we want more data and more data and more data. And Rizzo was pressing him on this. He's like, when are you guys ever going to stop? And he's like, well, we're not.
That's not, they don't stop.
Like, that's not their job, right? Their job is to get to full employment and to keep inflation down. And
the economy continuously moves. So how could you stop? There's no way, like, I guess I get.
But to Charlie's point, like, that there's a lot of time left. Something can happen.
But who the fuck knows what the fuck is going to happen?
I don't think that there's any surprise here in this. This is a bit of a nothing book when it comes to what Woodward usually turns out. There's no revelation here.
I think there's a time in American politics where if you are, let's just take the 80s, right? If Ronald Reagan, if there was some type of, was sending tests
to Noriega.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, imagine if it was arms for hostages.
Well,
what?
That's
in Nicaragua?
That never happened.
Calm down, Ollie North. Yeah, I understand, but like, first of all, you're probably not going to tell me something awful about Donald Trump and his relationship with Putin or anybody else that I'm going to be like, oh, now we got.
But we should be shocked by that.
We're so past that.
We should be.
We're so past that. He's out here doing God knows what. I mean, look at the list of. we're here saying, oh God, he sent COVID tests to Vladimir Putin. He also took pictures of North Korean intelligence in front of people in Mar-a-Lago like the first week he was elected.
There is a Logan Act, as we have in this, which there could be,
so that's why it matters.
That's
right?
why it could be if we took the law.
If he's on the phone with Putin making promises for what happens when he either reassumes power or takes it, that is a very big problem. I'm not sure it's prosecutable because it's hard to prove and you'd have to take the word of the Russians over it.
Right.
But, it isn't shocking. None of this is shocking. That Trump is in constant communication with his handlers doesn't surprise me. That he owes Putin an infinite number of favors, corona tests or anything else, doesn't shock me.
One that we didn't put in here, though, was the communication with the Russians around, the fake, dirty bomb that Ukraine was dropping and the nuke, and them trying to smooth over, making sure there's no tactical nuclear bomb used. That doesn't move the needle at all. That a nuclear weapon?
It does to people who are serious, but those people are already decidedly not going to vote for Trump. For the people who are possibly going to vote for Trump, and I'm already throwing the Trumpistas clean out of this. Yeah. I'm talking about the people who you believe exist, who I don't, the independents. The idea
George H.W. Bush Republicans.
No, those people have long since abandoned Trump. They're all Cheney people. The idea that there are some people who are on the fence about Trump who could be moved by the idea that he brought us closer to a nuclear war, those people are not moved by that.
Crazy.
Because Trump has done so many things that have brought us closer to nuclear war, and if they're still considering voting for him, none of that shit has mattered previously.
And let's also face it, a lot of these people welcome death because they seek the afterlife.
Yeah, they think that there's some rapture or something.
Yeah, because people are searching for a meaning in their lives, and they don't just
Also, they don't really. I don't think a lot of these people can really comprehend what nuclear war means. They don't really get this.
There's history that you can look at.
No, but they don't think that applies to them. That happened someplace else, and it's over there. They think that they are living in a different place. Trust me, these people.
No, I'm actually on the same page.
They're not. They don't really contemplate how terrifying this is.
Terrifying.
Because the way it's
they don't think climate change is terrifying either.
Well, I mean, I've been someone who's I'm fascinated about that for the weirdest reasons. I remember back when I lived at Falls Church, I used to. When Trump first got elected, and when the fire and fury shit was going on with North Korea, I actually went to those websites where you can run the simulations of the nuclear blast, and so I was running them what does this mean for me?
We're all Washingtonians. We've all grown up here our whole lives. We've all basically lived with the comfort/fear that we don't have to worry about this because we'll be annihilated in the first minute.
Well, Falls Church actually is more like a survivable area. Like where I was, out by Tyson's.
All right, well, I'm just basically assuming growing up in Arlington
where
that
I am
dead.
now. No, where I am now.
Dome comes across the city and blocks it away.
I'm going to be vaporized, and that's fine.
And even where I live now, I consider it basically we're done. So I just stopped.
There's only one thing we can take solace in is that the way that the wind stream works is that all the radiation will go north.
Yeah, and west or east.
But if you're in Baltimore, you won't be able to tell.
But yeah, I mean, to quote Dr. Strangelove, or how I learned to stop worrying about the bomb, it does feel like that, and I live my whole life.
I'm not saying we wouldn't get our hair musked, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed. Tops. Depending on the breaks.
Right. This is the war room, gentlemen. Yeah. Okay.
I've never proved anything like this. Our source was the New York Times.
I'm not shocked by any of this. I'm not even surprised by any of this. Just confirms stuff I've already assumed he did. Woodward could come out.
I'm glad that but also too, I'm glad that it's been confirmed.
If he assisted with our allies, that would surprise me.
Right. If it turned out he was helping Ukraine, that would shock me. Yeah. If Woodward came out with a book with definitive proof that J.D. Vance is a couch fucker, I'd be like, well, of course he is. Like, I'm not shocked by that. I know that. If he came out with a book that said Paul Gosar's mother tried to kill him when he was a kid, that wouldn't shock me either. Like, these things are not surprising to me.
He had that face when he came out of the womb.
Right. Yeah, he was already looking like that. That's terrifying. I've got children. If they looked up at me looking like that, I don't know.
Yeah, you'd go kill it.
I don't know about that. maybe
It's the only time you would support a post-birth abortion.
Well, you just put it on the table, and the doctor says,
Yeah.
And then Ralph Northam comes and kills it for you.
That's gonna get clipped, and Marjorie's gonna turn this into it. Oh my God!
Someone's gonna get clipped.
Jasmine Crockett, can you please listen and fight back?
With your fake eyelashes.
Yeah. Oh my God! We don't need a song written about us. All right.
America Betrayed: How a Christian Monk Created America and Why the Left is Determined to Destroy Her.
What? I'm not reading that. All right. You want to do some news?
News.
This one's about Brian.
Yeah.
All right. This is about the bus.
Yeah, the bus, the good old bus.
So Tez loves the bus.
I love the
Jerome
bus.
Bettis?
Yeah. Yes. No, the Metro bus.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the bus?
Well, my friends keep telling me I should stop riding the bus.
Why?
They're just like, you should. I ride the bus at like random times.
It gets you where you need to go.
Where I need to go. Yeah.
And you don't have to pay for it, apparently.
I pay for it. I try to keep this.
You're
shit
one
running.
of the 30% that pays for it.
Yes, I'm one of the 30%.
That surprised me is that non-payment rate was that high on
Yeah,
Metro
so
bus.
70% doesn't pay.
And I see this like it's
every time I've seen.
It just happens. Like,
it's not
Do you
just
think
that it happens.
do you think it's possibly when they switch from primarily from cash to smart trip cards, or do you think that was still the case when it was still cash?
I feel like the transfer era, everybody paid for the bus back then.
Yeah. It's once they
when
got
you had to
off,
get the little paper transfer.
Yes, I think
I remember that.
Everybody paid back then.
Yeah, because you wanted the paper transfer.
Yeah.
But once they got off of that and there was no currency to be exchanged, no, because the driver is not interested in policing that. And he's on a schedule. He doesn't want any
Exactly.
of this. So he's like, yeah, whatever. Get on. I
think it's other jurisdictions like in Montgomery County, I think ride-on is still free.
Arlington
is
both have it free.
Yeah, Art is free.
Because
and Q-Bus can be. Q-Bus isn't free, I don't think.
I think it is if you've got an ID.
If you have, I know. Even after I
got your
graduated,
Mason
I used my Mason ID. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a battle between like. And DC isn't going to move to this, and Metro won't move to it because it's across so many jurisdictions that's
where the problem
it's tricky to try to like, this becomes free everywhere. Does it only become free in DC? I mean, I think you could actually execute that. I think you could, like, for the most part.
There's too many lines now, especially with the reorganization that go from out to in and out. Yeah, I mean, you could. The circulator was free, right? And they did that on purpose, and then they got rid of that. The funding mechanism for Metro does become a problem to free bus access, because you do have to get buy-in from 3 jurisdictions, and if DC gives it away for free and Virginia and Maryland don't agree to that, they're footing the bill for it. I get all of that.
What happens with the bus if it goes from DC?
If it crosses
into
a
Virginia?
line,
right?
Yeah, it gets iffy.
But that's been the Achilles heel of Metro for forever.
Yeah, I think ultimately here, look, bus non-payment is a problem if you think that the bus can be self-supporting, but even if everybody paid, it still doesn't.
Yeah.
It still loses money. It still requires to be funded. I would be fine with treating all of public transit as a utility, that people have access to and they need it. I understand fare. There could be a fare, for the train and for the bus, but they nixed the problem with the train by putting in the gates.
Yeah, that has changed. And they are seeing tremendous success.
I haven't seen
the these high gates.
You can't
there
jump
it
them.
is.
And
you can jump them.
Okay, so that's actually more like what they have in London.
Yeah, and similar in New York as well.
Well, no, they still got the turnstiles in New York.
Yeah, some of them do. But I think that the success on Metro Rail is now got people paying attention on the bus.
A little bit, yeah.
How can
I think
we
that's
replicate the success on rail to the bus? And they've got these new fare boxes going in.
There's one in the front and the back of the bus too, where you can board.
Tap your card and keep moving.
I noticed though, because I do ride the bus a lot, that a lot of times I go to pay and the actual it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
So that was something that was mentioned in the article, that like the older boxes, the vast majority of them don't work. But the new ones that are going in should probably fix that, and I think they're
Are these,
slated to all be
on
done
the bus or on the the train?
on the bus.
Okay.
And they're at both doors on the bus,
Yeah,
which
so you
is
can
a critical
enter.
thing.
Oh, okay. So they're on the center. The center doors.
Exactly.
Oh,
So you can enter in either door.
Yeah, I think that if you make them work, even if people are doing it out of their habit, I think I don't know.
Also, too, and they'll probably argue, say we're not getting paid for it. But the bus service needs to be improved as well, too. Like, that is the other thing. There are routes that need to have larger buses that run later as well, too, because how do you actually shepherd around, the service industry and the people who keep, the nightlife in D.C.?
Especially in these, especially as the extras are expanding,
Yes.
out where the Silver Line ends in Reston and
Because if you notice at every one of these stations, they're building up, and which it should be that, right? There should be density.
Transit-based density, yes, absolutely.
But again, if you're having bars and again nightlife scenes that are around these stations, how do you expect people to get there? And public transportation,
especially for the people that work there.
Yeah, exactly, because they're the ones.
A lot of those people are probably are less likely to have cars.
Exactly, and they're the ones really fueling the economy because they're the ones that make sure that people can consume from.
Absolutely.
Places they're going.
The service workers need a way to get around. They need a way to get to and from work. There's some interesting things in this article that aren't about that, though, which is that the crime within the system is down 30% compared with the same time period last year.
Which I can also...
Which if you watch the news, you wouldn't believe.
You wouldn't, but if you're on what they've done, and I mean, it feels like a fucking police state, but they have, literally... armed security guards. There's not Metro
riding
Transit.
The bus.
They get on and they walk the actual trains and from the beginning to the end, they're on the platforms. And this is at random times as well too.
That's good.
But also too, I do think after COVID, there was it was just a lot different after COVID. The reintroduction of public transit and people getting on it. Kind of lawless for a little while. I get why they're doing it. I don't necessarily like it because, again, it feels kind of weird that you have these armed guards walking up and down. But I also see it in New York as well, too, which is it's deeper there. People have AK-47s. It's like the army that's there.
Another thing that this article mentioned is that bus ridership in general is way up. Yeah. Way up. And if you'd asked us, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, before the pandemic about this, we would have said, nobody rides a bus.
Yeah.
But that is not true. Bus ridership is up and crime in the system is down.
Yeah.
And both of those things are not the story that you would get if you were watching the news.
And apparently Metro is not currently on fire.
Yeah, and they've got back to automated trains.
Yes, automated trains, which is huge. That's how the system was set up to run.
I don't know. I would like to see free buses.
They should be free. But this is the federal
the
government
feds should step up
is
here.
where this should happen because if we think about what Metro actually serves, if we think about the stations that actually whether it's the Pentagon,
Capital South,
Smithsonian, where the actual people are again, I say the Pentagon has a stop.
It's one of the biggest in the system.
Yeah.
It also has one of the biggest bus hubs.
Yeah, so the big bus hub is on too.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. So
the system is also built for the federal government. It wasn't built for residents of DC.
And even if it's supporting the nightlife that's going on in DC, ultimately that is supporting the federal government because it's supporting the people who live here who work for the federal government.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, the feds have a responsibility here. And in other countries where there are transit systems, especially in the capital, nobody bats an eye at this.
Yeah, we need to do this.
It's only here where somehow this has to be a profit-making enterprise, which seems crazy. You want to talk about another country?
Yeah, let's go.
Korea. There's two of them.
There are two.
Glorious DPRK.
Yeah, there's the DPRK. There was DPRK news on Twitter, which was fantastic, and then I think they got shut down. But
I love that. I am immensely fascinated by that country.
It is crazy. So
I actually was looking into traveling there at one point.
I would not. Here's why. Here's the first part. There's two parts to this story. North Korea said Wednesday it will permanently block the border with South Korea and build frontline defense structures to cope with, quote, confrontational hysteria by South Korean and U.S. forces while not announcing an expected constitutional revision to formally designate South Korea as its principal enemy and codify new national borders. So,
didn't they join the Olympics recently?
Yes,
at the Winter Olympics in 2018. They did that were in Pyeongchang, South Korea.
Right.
They did march under because at the Parade of Nations normally the host nation is the last one to come in. They both came in as a unified thing. Interestingly, also right before that, I did read that originally when the bid was first put in for the Seoul Olympics in 1988, that was originally going to be a joint bid between North and South Korea.
Yeah, but to no avail.
Yeah.
So the North Koreans, there are a few links between the countries. There's some rail links, there's some roads and some bridges and things that connect the two across the DMZs. Notably at both coasts, there's these transit points, and then there's this huge industrial zone that was initially set up to allow North Korean workers to work for South Korean companies within the DMZ. And anyway, these links exist. The North Koreans have started doing things like dismantling them and planting landmines along them.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't know what they think is happening, but also that they're changed their constitution to make South Korea their primary enemy. Do you know what it was previously?
The U.S.
It was us.
Yeah.
And
the Rockets
we
don't
will
go
not
that
stand
far.
for being number 2.
Yeah, that's bullshit. We're the number one enemy.
They need their Rockets to go where they can hit.
Yeah,
So I'm just trying
it's
to
not
figure out.
really clear, why this all of a sudden.
Well, aren't they still technically at war?
Yes.
Yeah.
But so are we.
Yeah, because it's only an armistice that was signed.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why are you mining the? Because ultimately, what we know over history is they're gonna reopen these links at some point. They're gonna need this trade. There's gonna be talk of reunification. And they gotta undo all this stuff. Since you know nothing's already happening, you're better off to just leave it status quo but empty. Just leave it alone, and then, maybe you can open it up later.
These strong men, they need something to rally on. You need something to go into a rally with and say.
Well, it turns out they've got a reason.
Oh.
A North Korean defector living in South Korea is under arrest for allegedly stealing a bus, one of those metro buses, and attempting to drive it across the border into North Korea last week.
Without charging anybody a fare.
Right. The man who was in his 30s.
The only thing you pay is your allegiance to glorious leader.
Yes.
He escaped North Korea and settled in 2011 in Seoul, according to South Korea's police. Reportedly, he told police that he wanted to return to North Korea because life was difficult in the South and he missed his family back in the North.
See, the weird thing is that didn't surprise me too much because, considering the culture shock.
Sure.
I mean, there have to be some people that do feel that.
Apparently, this happens quite a lot. He was not the first North Korean defector who's attempted to return home. South Korea's unification ministry said 31 defectors re-entered the North from 2012 to 2022. That's in a 10-year period. 31 of them. An average of one about every 3.
Re-entered.
About 3 each year. I'm sorry, yes. The ministry report revealed that 71% of the defectors who re-entered North Korea resided in the South for less than 5 years. So they get to South Korea, they experience freedom and, dare I say,
institutionalized.
And separation from their families as well.
Separation from family in their hometowns. They have a buffalo wing for the first time. And they go, oh my God, this is too much. And they freak out and they want to go home.
I think we see this right with people who come out of jail.
Stockholm syndrome.
With they institutionalized and they're used to again, this regimen.
Shawshank syndrome.
Yeah.
Right. It's too much. I can only imagine, this freedom shit it's too free.
There's also a bunch of elderly defectors who wish to return because they miss their hometown.
That makes sense. I get that. It's probably more
and
of
that's
that.
right. And that's definitely for them. I'm guessing for them that's also a very cultural thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
It's probably more of that. I was like, all right, this is cool, but I can't even enjoy freedom with my family or anything like that. I might as well just go back.
Although the society is generally democratic and capitalistic, South Korea welcomes North Korean defectors by providing basic education at the adaptation center for months before letting them walk out freely into society.
Oh yeah, no, and that's a good thing because that is a process.
It is huge.
Yo.
But the reality of adapting to a new way of life isn't always as easy for the defectors.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's why they're mining the roads and like cutting the links. These guys escaped and they don't want them back. They're going to steal buses and drive back home. They're so successful in North Korea that people are breaking in to try to get back into North Korea. What a crazy idea.
That's insane.
God bless Little Rocket Man. Somebody send him some toilet paper since he doesn't poop. All right, that's it. That's all we got. We're on time. It's great. It's a fantastic show. Which means you hear the music? Do you hear it? We do hear the music. Which means we've come to the end of the show. Thank you to Charlie.
Yes.
Now that the music's playing, I have a couple people I want to thank. I also want to thank my best friend and publicist.
Sally Fields. No, sorry. Thank you for making our show funny and cultured again.
My pleasure.
Not sure how to fit that on a hat, but I'm sure we can make it work.
We'll make it work.
Yep. Thanks to our radio partners. Ready? Kim Jong-un, Kim Il-sung, and Kim Possible. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week, maybe. Don't know. No idea. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Kanye's latest divorce. Okay, where can everybody get you on the social medias? Charlie.
You find me on Twitter at Charles Bright, and you can read all of my writings at goldderby.com.
There you go. All right, Tez, where can everybody get you?
Live life like a kung fu master.
No, stop.
Debunking FDR, the man and the myths.
No.
Why Japanese internment was the one thing he did right.
Oh, my God.
By Michelle Malkin.
No.
The most overlooked women of the Bible.
Oh.
All three of them.
No. Yeah. Four. There was, one had two wives. All right, go ahead.
What they never told us.
No.
The stories of family secrets and hidden identities.
All right, catch you on Blue Sky being a flaming liberal and the blah, 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 blah.
Where's Baba Booey when you need him?
Right.
Bannon, American Street Fighter.
Is he Ryu or Ken?
Hadouken! No, you can find me on Instagram at Ketchup Corny. You can find me on that hellscape that is X or Twitter, whatever the fuck you call it, at DC Cortez. You can find me as always being a flaming liberal on Blue Sky.
Right.
Oh, there's a Blue Sky title somewhere in here, too.
Oh, no.
Hold on, I got one. Hold on, wait. There was one more that I saw. Oh, Lord.
For the sign off. All right, you can find me and the show on Twitter at ChipChatRR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm Chip. That's Charlie. That says. That's Brian. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
D-Trans. True stories of escaping the gender ideology cult.
If we get famous, we can give a shout out to Brian. To get us out on time is what he'd be trying. The show is like a custom feathered avian that knows words. How can we stay late when our guest is early bird? In conclusion, the message is to go out and serve folks. Whether that's through art, music, or if you just tell jokes. We seek to medicate your ears, hope you eradicate your fears. And thanks for sticking with us through all of these years.